Chapter 2365. With his wife's intelligence, she would definitely get suspicious if he said too much. Honey, I have a meeting in the morning. I have to go, I'll drive you. Chin-Chu immediately put down the unfinished bread in his hand and stood up. It's okay, I can do it myself. No, I'll drive you. No matter what Hwa-min said, Chin-Chu refused to let her go to work alone. In the end, he insisted on driving Hwa-min to South Side. Before they got out of the car, Chin-Chu held Hwa-min's hand and looked at her affectionately. Honey, I'll pick you up after work. Don't go alone. I don't know what time I'll get off work. If I have an emergency surgery, I might have to work overtime. That's okay, I'll wait for you. Just wait for me to pick you up, Chin-Chu said worriedly. Okay. Hwa-min nodded and walked towards the hospital. Chin-Chu waited for Hwa-min to enter the hospital before he drove away. In an inconspicuous alley opposite the hospital, Ian smiled. Ian stood there and smiled. It seems that her lover dotes on her very much. Sir, should we kidnap her? One of his subordinates asked in a low voice. No, I'm tired of kidnapping. I have a better game. Ian smiled evilly. After Hwa-min entered his office, Chen Jia walked in with a stack of documents. Vice Director, these are the documents for the morning meeting. Please take a look. Hwa-min looked up at Chen Jia and smiled slightly. Why are you back so soon? Didn't I give you a long break? Chen Jia and Ni Yang had just gotten married, so Hwa-min gave her special permission to take more time off. He didn't expect her to come back so soon. She was quite friendly. I couldn't stay, it was too boring. Chen Jia smiled. Did Ni Yang let you come to work? He did. He's busy writing new songs every day. We have to get back on track, it's not good to be together all the time. Chen Jia's face reddened slightly. Okay, leave the documents here. I'll look at them in a bit. Okay, don't forget to drink some lemonade. I heard it has whitening effects. Chen Jia reminded. Hwa-min smiled and nodded. After Chen Jia left, Hwa-min fell into deep thought. She was thinking about something. Everyone seemed to want her to go on vacation. Both Hua Xiqian and Chin-Chu said the same thing. This is too strange. Could it be that something big is going to happen soon? Did they want to send her away? Hwa-min felt like something was wrong, but she didn't know who to ask. She turned Hwa-min's father. Hua-min Hua Xiqian wore a black suit and held a Mo Shui's photo in his hand. He walked at the front, followed by a large group of fans. Jiang Yi, who hadn't shown up in a while, was also in the crowd. Suyu didn't go, but he sent some couplets. After all, they were all in the entertainment industry, and many of Imperial Star's artists were in attendance. After all, this was a chance for them to show up and get some attention. Hwa-min looked at it and didn't find any valuable clues. She got up and walked towards the conference room. At the entrance of the city's largest funeral parlor, Gao Ran brought his men here to maintain law and order. He was afraid that someone would cause trouble. After all, this was a crowded place. Inside the police car, Gao Ran sipped on a can of Coke, feeling anxious. Chief Gao, it's been so long, and we've already issued a warrant. It doesn't make sense that we can't find the culprit. There aren't many foreigners in the first place, so they should have attracted a lot of attention. Could it be that they've already left the city? Escaped? The subordinate police officer guessed. Chapter 2366. Gao Ran shook his head. No way. Why would someone like that run away? After hearing Chin-Chu's explanation of Ian's identity, Gao Ran was certain that Ian wouldn't run away like a coward. Then how come there's no news at all? There's not even a witness. Don't they need to eat or drink? Gao Ran was also puzzled. Why was there no news at all? Logically speaking, the city bureau's portrait artist should have a high degree of authenticity. How could there be no clues at all after a few days? Gao Ran didn't know that Ian could change his face at any time. He and his men could change their masks at will. That day at the restaurant, when Rick and Cece met Ian, his face wasn't Ian's. So, how did Gao Ran catch someone who could change his face at any time? Did you find anything suspicious at Imo Schwacker's death scene? Gao Ran asked with a frown. Not yet. We also found some blood and hair. We sent it for testing, but the results aren't out yet. Okay, I got it. Gao Ran was even more depressed. His superiors had given him a strict order to give an explanation for these murders. Xiang Axian was a socialite, Mr. Xiang was a respectable businessman, and now Mo Shui was an influential celebrity. 3 lives in just a few days. It really caught everyone off guard. Hua Xiqian killed Mo Shui with his own hands that day, but Ian's men had already taken care of all the evidence. So, the police wouldn't suspect Hua Xiqian. Plus, he had a lot of alibis. If it weren't for Ian, Gao Ran might have already arrested Hua Xiqian and taken him back to the police station for tea. But now, it was getting more and more confusing. After Hua Min came back from his morning meeting, he took out his phone and scrolled through his WeChat moments. He saw that Cece had posted a photo of the airport with only one sentence, "Start a beautiful new life." Hua Min knew that she and Rick had left the city for America, but would Cece be able to find a new life there? He thought of Rick's family dispute and his fiancée, Luna, who was the daughter of a mafia boss. Hua Min broke out in cold sweat for Cece. While she was in a daze, her phone rang. It was a video call from Little Bean. Hua Min instantly became gentle when he saw his daughter's profile picture. "Little Bean," she said gently. "Mommy, what are you doing?" "Mommy is at work." "Have you eaten?" "I've eaten." "What about you? Have you eaten with your sister?" "Yeah, we didn't eat at home. We ate outside. We ate salmon." Little Bean proudly showed off. "Outside? Did you go out with your grandparents?" Hua Min asked. "No, Handsome Sue is here to pick us up, haha," Little Bean said happily. Hearing that it was Su Yu who picked up the twins, Hua Min was relieved. "I see. Mommy, your makeup is a bit of a failure today." Little Bean suddenly pointed at Hua Min's face. "Ha!" Hua Min froze and touched her face subconsciously, not knowing what went wrong. "You should use a brighter eyeshadow. Your coffee-colored eyeshadow makes you look haggard, okay, you little girl. Mommy doesn't need your guidance." Hua Min smiled. "Mommy, Uncle Sue said that the seafood here is good. Do you want to come and eat with us? It's still early, you're probably still on your lunch break, right?" Little Bean asked. Upon hearing Little Bean's words, Hua Min looked down at her watch. Chapter 2367. "I can't, baby. I don't have time. Mommy has to go to work in half an hour." "Mommy, are you the vice director? You don't have to be so serious." "I can't do that. Mommy has to follow the rules too. Otherwise, it'll be hard to convince others." Okay. Then we'll continue eating. Don't be jealous, okay? Go ahead. After breakfast, Uncle Sue will drive you guys back." After hanging up, Little Bean pouted. Pudding reached out her hand. "Give me the money." 100 yuan. Little Bean reluctantly took out 100 yuan and put it in her sister's hand. "I told you, Mommy won't come. She won't delay work because of food," Pudding said confidently. I thought Mommy wouldn't be so rigid after she became the vice director. Who knew? Little Bean was so disappointed in her mommy. Suyu laughed. It's impossible for your mommy not to be rigid. I've known her for so many years, but she's still so bad-tempered, so why are you so stubborn? Why do you like her? Little Bean glared at Suyu and asked. Suyu didn't know how to answer Little Bean's question. It's because Mommy doesn't like others that Handsome Sue likes her. Handsome Sue wouldn't like her if she was a slut who can be found everywhere on the street. What do you know? This is called rare things are precious. Pudding emphasized. Okay, you two win. I don't know what to say. Suyu lowered his head and ate in silence. Hey, by the way, sis, you're so smart. Why don't you give us an analysis of who the psycho killer is? Little Bean seemed to be very interested in this shocking murder case. Pudding, on the other hand, casually ate her sushi and replied, the people who died were unrelated to us, so I'm not interested in analyzing them. I don't care who they are, as long as it has nothing to do with the people around us. Okay, you're being arrogant again. You're just like Daddy. Little Bean's enthusiasm was instantly extinguished. Handsome Sue, I heard that a woman in your company is chasing you. Little Bean changed the topic and asked Suyu. Ahem. Who did you hear this rumor from? Suyu almost choked. Big Brother and never makes up rumors. It must be true. Little Bean immediately betrayed and Suyu turned around and coldly glanced at Anne's poker face. Xiao Anne's eyes darted left and right, pretending not to look at Suyu's terrifying eyes. So what's the situation? Don't tell me it's another woman like Bitch Jian. Little Bean asked. There's no such thing. Don't listen to his nonsense, Handsome Sue, I'm warning you. Don't attract bad girls. The problem is, you're not the only one who's troubled. Every single one of those girls is trying to pick on my mommy. She's innocent. Little Bean began to defend her mommy. Stop. Let's not talk about this anymore. I didn't treat the two of you to sushi so that you can attack me. Okay. Suyu laughed. She's the one who bombarded you, not us. Pudding emphasized. Sis. What do you mean? You're not on my side anymore. Little Bean looked at her sister. I've never been on your side. Please. Don't drag me into this, Pudding said righteously. By the way, why haven't I seen Tang Chuan recently? Every time I ask him to drink, he says he's busy. Isn't he chasing after your auntie? Does he go to your house often? Suyu asked. No. Not only do you not see Uncle Tang, but our auntie also leaves early and comes home late. I don't know what they're busy with. Maybe one day they'll give us a younger brother or sister. Little Bean guessed. Suyu almost spat out the sushi in his mouth. So, your auntie doesn't plan on going back to the States? Suyu asked curiously. Chapter 2368. Who knows? Second Grandpa is furious. If Auntie doesn't go back, he'll probably bring bodyguards to arrest her. Little Bean guessed. Suyu chuckled. Now young Master Tang has something to do. Inside a coffee shop, Tang Chuan and Qin Ning were having a date here. As soon as Qin Ning sat down, Tang Chuan went around to buy her coffee. Then, he added sugar and milk, taking care of her in every possible way. Ning Ning, you seem a bit off today. What's wrong? Tang Chuan noticed that Qin Ning was a lot less talkative than usual today. Tang Chuan, I might have to go back to the States, oh. Tang Chuan nodded. Then, he tore open a bag of sugar and added it to his coffee. That's all you said. Qi Ning felt uncomfortable seeing Tang Chuan's reaction to her. Just one, oh, what does that mean? He didn't care if she went back. Then why should she be sad? What else can I do? Cry. Tang Chuan grinned. So it doesn't matter to you whether I go or not. Qi Ning stood up to leave. Hey, Ning Ning, where are you going? I don't want to drink anymore. You can drink it yourself. Don't. Madam, sit down and listen to me. Why are you so short-tempered? You have no patience at all. Tang Chuan grabbed Qi Ning's arm and pushed her back to her seat. Speak. Qi Ning's face was cold. She turned her head to the side and didn't look at Tang Chuan's face. Weren't I busy making coffee when you were telling me about it? So, I didn't have time to tell you. Actually, what I meant was that I didn't want you to go back to the States, but I had no choice. After all, you're a senior in the company and your dad only has one daughter. So, you have to go back sooner or later, right? So. Qi Ning's face darkened. So, I was thinking. Why don't we go somewhere before you go? Then, no matter if you go back to the States or to England, France, or Italy, I'll be at ease. Tang Chuan took a few sips of his coffee and sipped it carefully. Then, he took a sip and carefully handed it to Qi Ning when he felt that it wasn't hot. It's not hot anymore. Here, drink this. Tang Chuan handed the coffee. Qi Ning wasn't in the mood to drink coffee. She was thinking about Tang Chuan's words. Chuan, what do you mean? I'm going back to China. Where are you taking me? Qi Ning frowned. The Civil Affairs Bureau. Tang Chuan said in a serious tone. Why are we going to the Civil Affairs Bureau? Qi Ning was confused. To get a certificate, get married. Qi Ning finally realized what was going on. Tang Chuan held his cup of coffee and blew on it carefully. Tang Chuan, why? Isn't the purpose of our relationship to get married? Or are you just playing around with me? Ning, I haven't loved someone so seriously in a long time. Are you really going to abandon me? Tang Chuan cried and started to act shamelessly. No, that's not what I meant. The problem is, getting married is a big deal. It's not a game. Qi Ning felt it was too sudden and didn't know what to say. So, you don't want to marry me at all, right? Tang Chuan pouted, looking like he had lost his soul. Oh, no. It's too sudden. I'm not ready. Qi Ning was confused. But I'm ready. Ning, listen to me. Once we get the marriage certificate, we'll be legally married. No matter who opposes us, no one will be able to affect our relationship. How perfect would that be? Tang Chuan looked at Qi Ning with a smile on his face. But. Qi Ning stuttered. She didn't know what to say. Chapter 2369. Looking at Qi Ning's hesitant expression, Tang Chuan felt uneasy. This girl had clearly seen through his feelings, but why was she still? Could it be that he had pushed him too hard? Seeing that Tang Chuan's face was dark and he didn't say anything, Qi Ning thought Tang Chuan was angry. She quickly grabbed his hand and explained. Listen, Tang Chuan, I don't want to marry you. It's not that I don't like you, and it's not that I don't want to marry you. Ever since my mother passed away when I was young, my father didn't want me to be wronged, so he didn't find me a stepmother. Even though I had a lot of girlfriends in the company, in the end, no woman was able to marry me. I'm very grateful to him for that, and I know that it wasn't easy for him. He raised me all these years, and he had to be both a father and a mother. He also had to manage such a big company, so it's normal for him to be irritable and weird. But I can't just act first and ask for permission because of my selfishness. That's disrespectful to him, and he'll be very sad if he finds out. I can't bear to hurt him. Qi Ning patiently and gently explained to Tang Chuan. Oh, I know. Ning, don't be nervous. I'm not angry. I just suddenly thought of this idea to ask you. It's okay if we don't get married. After all, you didn't do anything wrong. We're not cheating on each other, and we're not having an affair. We're both in a relationship, and of course, we'll be the same when we get married. So I won't be angry, don't worry. After listening to Qi Ning, Tang Chuan understood. As long as the girl didn't reject the proposal because she wasn't sure about her feelings for him, it was fine. Then when I go back to the States, will you miss me? Qi Ning pursed her lips and asked shyly. She lowered her head and didn't even dare to look directly into Tang Chuan's eyes. After all, it was her first love, and she had no experience. She was just shy like a little girl. No. Tang Chuan's answer was very straightforward. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Qi Ning was obviously unhappy. Yeah, I'm telling the truth. Why would I miss you? After Tang Chuan said this, Qi Ning's face turned green. Then, without waiting for her to speak, Tang Chuan continued, after all, we can see each other every day. What else is there to think about? Day and night. You're talking about video chat. But the time difference between America and China is different. Qi Ning was a little worried. Are you stupid? Don't you understand what I mean? Tang Chuan crossed his arms and looked at Qi Ning. You're a genius who became a director at such a young age. What do you mean? Hurry up and tell me. Don't beat around the bush, or I'm going to get mad. Qi Ning was confused, but she wasn't sure what Tang Chuan meant. What can I mean? I'm just going home to pack my luggage and go with you, Tang Chuan said casually. Come with me. Then, will your family agree? Qi Ning frowned slightly. She felt that Tang Chuan's action was too reckless. Last time, when they heard that he was in the States for more than a month, the elders of the Tang family were furious and even questioned Su Yu. Don't worry, if my family could control me, I wouldn't be Tang Chuan, Qi Ning. Okay, even if you can control your family, what about my dad? He said that if you want to be with me, you have to. Qi Ning paused, but she knew that Tang Chuan would understand what she meant. Chapter 2370. I know, I have to be a live-in son-in-law. So you're saying yes? Qi Ning froze. Yeah, what else can I do? Do I have a choice? I want to marry you, I want to be with you, so I'll do as you say. Tang Chuan giggled. Stop messing around, this isn't a small matter. Qi Ning was clearly unhappy with Tang Chuan's playful attitude. Ning, I'm not messing around, when did I joke about this? I'm serious. But I don't want to restrict your personal freedom because of me. I know you don't want to live like that in the States, and the Tang family won't allow their son to be a live-in son-in-law. I don't want to make things difficult for you. Qi Ning was thinking about Tang Chuan and didn't want to do this. She didn't want to selfishly force Tang Chuan to compromise, sacrifice his dignity, and let others laugh at him for being a grown man. In the end, he had to marry into an old woman's family. Ning, I know what you're thinking, but, to put it simply, we're in love and want to be together, but we don't have a better way right now, so let's just go along with your daddy's wishes. Let's not be pretentious. If we have to think too much about everything we do, life will be so tiring. Do you know why I also admire our sister-in-law, Huamin? Tang Chuan asked excitedly. Qi Ning shook her head in confusion. what I admire the most about our sister-in-law isn't her high IQ or calm personality, but her decisiveness when she makes a decision. Many men can't compare to her. Just like when we were all worried about how to save your brother from being framed and locked up in prison, our sister-in-law made up her mind and took the blame in court. She shocked so many people, and she didn't discuss it with anyone. So, let's not think too much about it. No matter what I do or what you do, as long as the result is good for both of us and we can be happy together, that's enough, don't you think? Tang Chuan was a very easygoing person. He was cheerful and always laughed. He wasn't as domineering as Su Yu, nor was he as calm as Wei Liao, and he rarely talked about big things. However, what he said today really shocked Qi Ning. She thought about what Tang Chuan said and was suddenly enlightened. Tang Chuan, you're right. As long as we can be happy together, we don't care about anything else. Then, you should pack up, we'll go back tomorrow. Qi Ning was in a very good mood. I'm all packed, don't worry. Now, what we need to do is eat in peace. Madam, I'm starving, can we not just drink coffee? Can you be more generous and treat me to a pizza? Tang Chuan asked jokingly. Qi Ning burst out laughing. Okay, young Master Tang, I'll treat you to 10 pizzas. After all, you're part of our family from now on. Okay, since you're my sugar daddy, you have to treat me well from now on. Tang Chuan continued to tease her. Qi Ning got goosebumps when she heard what he said. Some people were in love, some people were sad, some people were happy, and some people were sad. Tang Chuan and Qi Ning agreed to go back to the States together, so both of them were very happy. Qin Chu, on the other hand, was worried every day because of Ian's arrival. He had been looking for Ian's whereabouts, but to no avail. Indeed, Xiao Fei and Lu Yen weren't exaggerating, Ian was just too powerful. Worried that Ian would harm Huamin, Qin Chu was always absent-minded at work. He even zoned out during the morning meeting. This was the first time Mr. Qin had been so absent-minded during a meeting. Chapter 2371. President Qin, this is our marketing department's latest proposal, what do you think? After the marketing director introduced the project, he sincerely asked Qin Chu for his opinion. However, Qin Chu didn't respond at all because he was thinking about something else. President Qin. President Qin. Assistant Yang cautiously reminded him. Yes. Qin Chu snapped back to reality. Director Wang's proposal has been introduced, what do you think? Assistant Yang repeated the marketing director's question. Qin Chu looked up listlessly and glanced at the blueprint on the big screen. Then, he said, I'll think about it. Send the detailed proposal to my office and I'll discuss it after I've studied it. Okay, President Qin. That's all for today. Meeting adjourned. Qin Chu stood up tiredly. After he walked out of the meeting room, Assistant Yang immediately handed him a bottle of water. President Qin, you've been in a bad mental state lately. Qin Chu unscrewed the cap of the water and took a big gulp. Then, he sighed. Yes, it's very bad. Forgive me for being nosy, but did you get into an argument with President Hua? Assistant Yang asked. No, how could I bear to get into an argument with her? Qin Chu denied. Is it because there's something else that's bothering you? If you don't mind, you can tell me about it. It's getting more and more depressing if there's always something bothering you. It's nothing big. Maybe there's been too many things going on at the company lately, so I'm just frustrated. Why don't you and President Hua take the baby to Yunding Mountain and stay there for a few days? I see that you guys have always liked the hotel there. Bella, Director Jing, and I are here at the company. We can handle it. Assistant Yang was being kind. It's okay, I'll adjust myself. Don't worry, okay. Oh right. President Chin, there's one more thing, what is it? Although Assistant Yang was a chatterbox, Chin Chu liked this assistant. Sometimes, he even thought that Assistant Yang was a little cute. Can I get off work early tomorrow? Assistant Yang asked nervously. Why? It's because tomorrow is Valentine's Day. My wife wants me to go back early to accompany her. I don't know what's wrong with her recently, but she's obsessed with crosstalk. A famous crosstalk master is coming to perform in our city, and it starts at 4:30 p.m., so. Can I leave half an hour earlier? Ha! Of course, I can work overtime for half an hour to make up for it. Approved. Chin Chu only said two simple words. Little Yang was very happy and kept thanking him. Thank you, President Chin. Thank you, President Chin. Ha. With that, Yang turned to leave. Wait a minute. Chin Chu stopped him. President Chin, do you have any other orders? If it's Valentine's Day, what should I give her? Chin Chu asked awkwardly. Boss, are you going to buy a gift for President Hua? Yang's eyes lit up. Just answer my question. Why do you have so much nonsense to say? Chin Chu snorted, a little embarrassed. President Chin, it's like this. Normally, people give roses. Although it's vulgar, most women like it. I give my wife 99 roses every year, forever and ever, got it? You can leave now. Chin Chu waved his hand and sent Assistant Yang out. If it weren't for Assistant Yang's big mouth, Chin Chu would have forgotten that tomorrow was Valentine's Day. Chin Chu immediately began to struggle. What should he give his wife? He had to make up for the past 4 Valentine's Days that he missed. It seemed like he couldn't be careless this time. Therefore, President Chin fell into silence again. At noon, she went to the hospital cafeteria for lunch with her assistant, Chen Jia. Sister Mian, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. What should President Chin give her? Chen Jia asked curiously. Everyone knew that Chin Chu loved his wife like his life depended on it, so even Chen Jia, who usually didn't like to gossip, was tempted to ask about it. Upon hearing Chen Jia's question, Hua Min froze for a moment. Chapter 2372. It's Valentine's Day already, I wouldn't have remembered if you didn't mention it. Hua Min smiled. You don't care about anything when you're busy. Chen Jia knew Hua Min's temper too well. What about you? How are you and Ni Yang going to spend Valentine's Day together? He said he's going to take me out for dinner after work. Chen Jia smiled sweetly. As expected of a newly married couple, they were filled with happiness. Oh, our Ni Yang is a warm guy, and now that we're married, he's even more of a cute husband. Jia, did you save the galaxy in your previous life? That's why you're so lucky to meet your idol. Hua Min teased. When it comes to saving the galaxy in your previous life, no one can compare to you. You have President Chin's love, you're the envy of everyone else. Okay, let's stop praising each other. Hurry up and eat, I still have surgery in the afternoon. Okay. Chen Jia nodded, and the two stopped talking. When Hua Min came out from work, Chin Chu was already waiting for him at the door. It was a black Bentley, low-key yet luxurious. Honey, how long have you been waiting? Hua Min smiled sweetly. I just got here too. In order not to make Hua Min feel guilty, Chin Chu didn't tell her that he had been waiting for half an hour. I had a surgery in the afternoon, I'm so tired and hungry. Hua Min sat in the passenger seat, completely relaxed. What do you want to eat? I'll take you, aren't we going home to eat? Hua Min tilted her head and looked at Chin Chu. No, there's no one at home. Mom and Dad went out to have tea with an old friend, so you took Little Bean and Pudding to the Su family, and Ning Ning and Tang Chuan went somewhere to have fun, so, it's just the two of us at home. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Okay. Do you want Oxan's ramen? Every time Huamin thought about what to eat, she would always think of that ordinary and warm noodle restaurant and the time when she was young with Chin Chu. Then, she would be filled with happiness. Okay. Chin Chu nodded, then turned the car around and drove in the direction of Second High School. Boss, 2 bowls of ramen, 1 big and 1 small, Chin Chu said. No, I want 2 big bowls today. I'm so hungry. Huamin stuck out her tongue and acted like a spoiled child to Chin Chu. Chin Chu smiled dotingly, then turned around and corrected the boss, 2 big bowls then. All right, I'll be right there. Wait a moment. Not long after, 2 bowls of steaming hot ramen were served, and the boss even gave away his homemade pickled vegetables. For people like Chin Chu and Huamin who were used to eating all kinds of delicacies, this bowl of ramen was actually the most delicious thing in the world. Huamin was really hungry. She didn't even have time to talk. She kept her head down and took big bites of the ramen. Slow down, don't burn yourself. You're so old already, but you're still acting like a kid. Chin Chu reminded her with a smile. I'm so hungry. I can't hold it in anymore. I'll talk to you after I finish eating, okay? Huamin said as she ate. Chin Chu was afraid that Huamin didn't have enough to eat, so he kept putting the beef in his bowl into her bowl. Just then, the old TV at the front desk of Oxan's Ramen started broadcasting the latest evening news. According to our latest news, a murder occurred in an alley near Hushi Road. The victim is a young woman whose identity is unknown. She died in the same way as Xiang Xian, the youngest daughter of the Xiang family, died a while ago. There was not a single drop of blood on her body. The police have arrived at the scene to seal it off. This is the 3rd case of a female victim after Xiang Xian and Imo Shui's deaths. The psychopathic killer has appeared again, and everyone is panicking. We hope that the police can solve this case as soon as possible. We will continue to follow this story, so please stay tuned. Chin Chu's expression changed slightly when he heard the news. He put down his chopsticks and coldly looked at the TV. Chapter 2373. The psychopathic murderer is out again. Gao Ran and the others haven't caught the murderer yet. Huamin turned around and asked softly. Chin Chu shook his head, looks like it's not Hua Xichen. He never kills people that have nothing to do with him. Huamin analyzed calmly. Yeah, it's not Hua Xichen. He wouldn't do something so despicable, Chin Chu said with certainty. It's not peaceful anymore, everyone's worried. Everyone in the hospital is talking about it. I don't know what the murderer is trying to do. Why would he drain someone's blood out of nowhere? It's not like they're real vampires. It's disgusting. Huamin shook his head helplessly. Honey, you eat first, I need to go to the washroom. Chin Chu stood up. Okay. Huamin nodded. He didn't notice the subtle change in Chin Chu's expression. City Bureau, Gao Ran flew into a rage and kicked the stool in front of him. His subordinates were so scared that they didn't dare to make a sound. I'm so pissed off. Another human life. This is easier than stepping on an ant. How lawless. You're addicted to killing, aren't you? Gao Ran couldn't help but curse. Chief Gao, the murderer is too cunning. We tried our best, don't blame yourself. One of the officers tried to persuade him. Bullshit, that's a human life. How can I not blame myself? What do we do for a living? Don't we take taxpayer money every month to ensure the safety of this area? Now the murderer is playing a killing game right under our noses, and we can't do anything about it. This is our incompetence. Gao Ran slammed his fist on the wooden table, and a sharp pain and numbness came from his hand. Chief Gao, don't be angry. We'll do our best to investigate. Gao Ran was about to say something when his phone rang. Hello. He picked up the phone without looking at it. His attitude was extremely unfriendly. Wow, Chief Gao is so angry. Qin Chu teased. After hearing Qin Chu's voice, Gao Ran calmed down a lot. He waved his hand and dismissed his men. Don't make fun of me. Look at the situation now. Gao Ran sighed. I saw the news. Another person died. Have you found out who he is? She's just a 23-year-old salesperson. She's pretty and comes from a small town. She's been working here for more than 2 years. She usually rents an apartment with a few of her colleagues. I heard that she likes to hang out at bars. She met the murderer at a bar before he took her away and brutally killed her. The way she died is exactly the same as Xiang Xian's. So, Ian did it, right? Gao Ran asked. There's no doubt about it. It's definitely him. Qin Chu felt very uncomfortable whenever he heard Ian's name. It wasn't because he was afraid. It was because the enemy was in the dark while they were out in the open. Ian hid in a rat hole and didn't show his face, but he often popped out to kill people. They didn't know what his ultimate goal was, so Qin Chu was very, very worried about Huamin's safety. Damn it. Chu, you have to think of a way. I have to catch this psycho. I'm so pissed. I feel like a coward as a police officer. That feeling of failure. Gao Ran was very troubled. He no longer had his previous calmness and judgment. It's not your fault. I told you, you can't deal with someone that even Lu Yan has to hide from. Qin Chu replied calmly. Are we just going to let him continue killing people like this? Are we just going to do nothing? Are we going to let a foreigner do whatever he wants and bully our innocent citizens? Gao Ran felt like he was going crazy. Chapter 2374. His superiors kept pressuring him, and as a high-ranking official of the municipal bureau, he was under a lot of pressure every single day. Not really, maybe. I can ask someone else. Qin Chu was deep in thought. Who? Don't worry about that for now, I'll let you know if I have any news. Old Gao, I advise you to tell your subordinates to be smart. Investigations are investigations, but don't provoke Ian. Who knows what he'll do? I know what you mean, don't worry, okay, that's all for now. Qin Chu hung up the phone and walked out of the washroom. He was shocked to find that Huamin was no longer in her original spot, Mian. Qin Chu panicked. Seeing that there was no response, Qin Chu became even more anxious. Mian, Mian. He called out her name over and over again. Mr. Qin. What's wrong? The owner of the ramen shop immediately came over. Where's my wife? Did you see her? Oh, your wife. She just told me that she was going to buy a cup of milk tea next door. If you came out, she told me to tell you to wait for her here, next door. Qin Chu didn't say anything else and immediately ran out. Sure enough, Huamin was still standing behind a few students at the milk tea shop next door. Seeing that she was fine, Qin Chu let out a long sigh of relief. Mian, why are you here? Qin Chu walked up and held her hand. Oh, I was a bit thirsty after eating ramen. It's pretty cold outside, so I didn't want to drink cold soda. The milk tea shop next door is still the same, and the taste is very pure. I suddenly missed it, so I came to line up on a whim. I told the owner to tell you. Yeah, he did. Chin-Chu nodded. Then why are you still so nervous? Honey, you've been acting a bit weird lately, you're always so jumpy. Hua-min covered her mouth and laughed. I'm not. I'm just worried about you, that something might happen to you. What could possibly happen to me? I'm the vice director of Southside, the famous Dr. Hua. Hua-min said proudly. He leaned on Chin-Chu's shoulder and began to boast narcissistically. Chin-Chu touched her head helplessly, but in the end, he couldn't help but scold her. Just like that, the couple lined up behind a few students, chatting as they waited, enjoying the most ordinary time. Hubby, do you still remember? When we were in school, I loved this shop's milk tea because it was cheap and delicious. But I couldn't get it often. Then, on Valentine's Day, you bought all the milk tea in this shop and only let me drink it. Other people wanted to buy it, but they couldn't. I couldn't finish it all by myself. What a waste. Hua-min felt very happy when he thought about his school days. Chin-Chu nodded. Yeah, back then, I thought that as long as you liked it, I would get it for you no matter what, but you were so overbearing, you didn't even let other people buy it. You bought all the milk tea for the entire day. All the students in second high were so jealous. Lingling even teased me and said that I was going to become the queen of milk tea. I was so happy to have so much milk tea all by myself. Yeah, if you want, I can buy all the milk tea and only let you drink it. Chin-Chu looked at his wife domineeringly. Don't. Ha, I think it's too childish. Let's just be quiet and not do anything. Hua-min covered her face in embarrassment and snuggled into Chin-Chu's chest. Finally, it was their turn. Hua-min only ordered a cup of plain milk tea. It was more than twice as expensive as before, costing 12 yuan per cup. It was a scam, but the good thing was that the taste hadn't changed. Hua-min inserted a straw into the milk tea and brought it to Chin-Chu's mouth. She looked at her husband with cute eyes and said coquettishly, "You drink first, hubby." Not far away, in a black car, Ian exclaimed in fluent English, no wonder Hua-min was infatuated with her. It seems like she's quite cute. Chapter 2375. Hua-min and Chin-Chu were drinking milk tea when they received a call from Tang Chuan. It was Hua-min. Sister-in-law, where are you? Tang Chuan shamelessly insisted on calling Hua-min sister-in-law, which made Hua-min feel helpless. My husband and I are eating at second high, huh? You guys are done. Tang Chuan was surprised. Yeah, look at the time. We came over right after I got off work. What's up? Tell us. Hua-min sipped on the milk tea that Mr. Chin brought over as he spoke to Tang Chuan. Ning and I booked a private room at first-class Royal Palace. We're treating everyone to hot pot, but we're done. You guys can eat, how can we do that? We're leaving tomorrow. Today, we're treating everyone to a meal. It doesn't matter if we eat or not, the important thing is to chat and see everyone. Tang Chuan explained. Leaving? You too? Hua-min didn't know what the two were up to and didn't know how to react. Anyways, just come over. We'll be waiting for you guys. Ha. First class Royal Palace, 3rd floor, private room 888. Tang Chuan hung up before Hua-min could say anything. Ugh, this guy. Hua-min shook his head helplessly and put away his phone. What's wrong? Mr. Chin asked as he put his arm around Hua-min's shoulder. Tang Chuan said that he and Ning are treating us to a meal and that they're leaving tomorrow or something. They asked us to go over. Ning is flying tomorrow. Chin Chu nodded. How come I didn't know? Hua Min was surprised. I asked Yang to book the plane tickets and asked the airport staff to help. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to book it. I didn't have time to tell you. I was going to tell you when we got home. Then let's go and take a look. I don't know when Ningning will come back this time. Yes. Chin Chu nodded. Then, the two of them drove straight to the first-class royal palace. When they arrived, Jiang Shaowei and Wei Liao were already there. Zhu Lingling also came, but Gao Ran was nowhere to be seen. Sister Lingling, where's your husband? Tang Chuan asked. Don't mention it. It's all because of that psycho killer. Everyone is in a panic. Another murder case happened. My husband hasn't been able to sleep well for several days. He has lost a lot of weight. He eats and sleeps in the bureau. I'm not in the mood to look after the shop these days, so I sent Bui Yuan to my mother-in-law's house. Sometimes I go to the bureau to bring him some food. Zhu Lingling was also listless. Oh, yeah. I saw the news too. It's so fucking scary. Where did this psycho come from? They're dying one after another. Tang Chuan said. Who knows? I just hope the killer is caught soon. Also, don't let more people die. If this continues, Director Gao might die first, and I'll be a widow, ha 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 ha. That won't happen. Sister Lingling, you're a tough woman. You and your husband won't be defeated by this little storm. Zhu Lingling's words made Tang Chuan chuckle. Chapter 2376. Don't worry, we can ask the waiter to serve the food first. When they get here, we can start eating, Qin Ning suggested. Emichem, that's a good idea. Go tell the waiter to serve the food, and I'll call Lord Su. Tang Chuan stood up and called Su Yu. The call went through, but Su Yu didn't pick up. Su Yu was driving his convertible sports car over, and the twins were sitting in the front passenger seat. This wasn't allowed, but with Lord Su's status, all the traffic police in the city knew who he was, so no one dared to ask. While waiting for a red light at an intersection, Su Yu glanced over and saw a young woman being dragged into a black Ford by two foreign men at the entrance of a bar. He frowned slightly. He had seen the news on TV recently and knew that there were a lot of murders. The focus was on the young woman and the foreign men, so Su Yu felt that something was wrong. Just as he was about to follow them, he suddenly remembered that the twins were still in the front passenger seat. He immediately gave up on the idea. If there was danger, he would be fine, but he couldn't let anything happen to the twins. So, with that thought in mind, she ignored Tang Chuan's call. Handsome Su, what are you thinking about? Pudding asked. Nothing. But the light is green, why aren't you driving? Pudding pointed ahead. I'll be right there. Su Yu continued driving. Soon, they arrived at first-class royal palace. Su Yu walked in with the twins in his arms. At the entrance, he saw a few familiar faces. A group of rich kids were eating here with a few girls. When they saw Su Yu, they nodded and bowed as if he was their ancestor. Lord Su, you're eating here too. Emichem, Su Yu nodded. If you don't mind, let's eat together. Today is Kai's birthday, let's have some fun together. It's okay, I have an appointment with a friend upstairs. You guys eat. Su Yu then carried the twins upstairs. Are those two children? Lord Su's. What a cute pair of twins. Some girls in the group who didn't know what was going on started gossiping. Lord Su isn't married yet. Can you stop joking around? Nowadays, does marriage have anything to do with having children? Who said that you can't have children if you don't get married? The girl retorted. That's not Lord Sue's either. But Lord Sue does love these two children. Isn't it because Lord Sue likes their mother? Forget it. Let's not talk about this. Lord Sue has a fiery temper and doesn't like people talking about him behind his back. Come, let's drink. Although the men felt that this was an interesting topic, they didn't dare to say too much. They were very wary of Suyu. When Suyu carried the twins into the private room, everyone was already there. Oh my God, I thought you drove back in time. You can go back and forth twice in 40 minutes. This isn't like you, Lord Sue. Tang Chuan looked at his watch. Uncle Tang, it's not handsome Sue's fault. I had to finish watching an episode of the TV series before leaving. I was late. Little Bean immediately explained. You little brat. What TV series are you watching? Come on, sit down. Let's eat. Tang Chuan waved his hand. Suyu sat down between Tang Chuan and Wei Liao. The twins dashed toward their parents, Pudding ran a little faster and laid down on Chin Chu's lap. Little Bean hugged Hua Min's hand and started acting cute. Hua Min lovingly picked Little Bean up and placed her on his lap. Little Bean, what do you want to eat? Mommy will cook it for you. Chapter 2377. Fish balls, crab sticks, and shrimp rolls. Little Bean didn't hold back and ordered a bunch of food. Little Bean, be careful. Don't be overweight again. Tang Chuan teased her on purpose. Uncle Tang, are you saying that you don't want to be a part of the Qin family anymore? Little Bean retorted. Oh, did you hear that? Your little brat knows how to threaten people? Tang Chuan complained to Hua Min. She's always had this skill. She didn't just learn it. Hua Min was very calm. Little Bean, come to Auntie. Let me hug you. Qi Ning was very happy to see her little niece. Little Bean quickly climbed down from Hua Min and sat on Qi Ning's lap. Little Bean, on the other hand, stayed by her daddy's side. Little Bean, why don't you come over? Come to Auntie's side. Tang Chuan also joined in the fun and called out to Little Bean. Little Bean calmly glanced at Tang Chuan's face and replied, Daddy and I are talking about the stock market. We don't have time to play with you guys. Tang Chuan was speechless. Wei Liao smiled. Little Bean, I heard that you bought a lot of Ho Corporation's shares. How was it? Did you make money? I haven't sold it yet. I'm waiting for the right time, Little Bean replied. Not bad. You know how to stock up. You're just like your dad. Wei Liao complimented. The group of people sat together and chatted while eating hot pot. The atmosphere was quite good. During this time, Siyu suddenly brought up the recent murder case. He looked at Zhu Lingling and asked, Sister Ling, did Chief Gao say that the murderer is a foreigner? Yeah, he's sure. But my husband said that the person in the portrait might not be the right person. These foreigners seem to change their appearance all the time. Every time, the witnesses see a new face. It's very strange. I don't know if it's a team or if they know how to disguise themselves. I'm so impressed. Zhu Lingling said listlessly as she picked up a piece of vegetable. What's wrong? Lord Su, do you have any clues? Jiang Shaowei asked. On the way here, I saw. Before Su Yu could finish his sentence, he was interrupted. Hua Min's phone kept ringing. It sounded urgent. This was the ringtone that Hua Min had set for South Side. Because if he could still receive a call from the hospital after work, it would most likely be an emergency. Therefore, Hua Min immediately took out his phone and answered the call. Hello? What? How long has it been? Is it serious? Wait for me then. I'll be right there. Hwamin hung up the phone and his expression changed drastically. Honey, what's wrong? Chin-Chu put down his chopsticks and looked at Hwamin. There's an emergency at the hospital. We've just received a patient with massive abdominal bleeding. He needs immediate surgery. Things like this happen every day. There are so many doctors on duty at the hospital. You don't have to do it, do you? Zhu Lingling asked curiously. The patient's family asked me to do the surgery. If I'm not there, they won't sign the papers. Hwamin answered seriously. Really? That's interesting. It seems like Dr. Hua is quite famous. Jiang Xiaowei joked with a smile. Honey, give me the car keys. You guys eat first and then take the kids home. I'll go back after I'm done. No, I'll go with you. Chin-Chu stood up. It's really not necessary. It's not too late now, I can drive. Hwamin didn't think that Chin-Chu had to go. Don't waste time, let's go. Without giving Hwamin a chance to speak, Chin-Chu put pudding down and grabbed Hwamin's hand as they walked out. They didn't even have time to say goodbye to everyone else. After they left, Tang Chuan looked at Pudding and Pudding. You two little things are so pitiful. How did your parents forget about you? Are you really their biological children? Or are you a freebie? Chapter 2378. So, sometimes I wonder if they're fake parents. Little Bean pouted. Little Bean's words made everyone laugh. Just then, Siyu received a WeChat message from Hwamin. After dinner, please take the kids back to South Hill Manor for me. Thanks. Siyu sighed and showed the message to everyone. Dr. Hua already told us to take care of them. Let's eat. It was normal for Hwamin to go save people in the middle of dinner. However, Chin-Chu insisted on going with him, which made everyone curious. Have you guys noticed that Chin-Chu seems to be extra worried about Hwamin? He takes them to work and picks them up after work. He's so meticulous. Jiang Xiaowei said. That's understandable. After all, it hasn't been peaceful lately. The victims are all women, and the psycho killer hasn't been caught yet. My husband also told me not to go out if I don't need to. It's better to be careful, Zhu Lingling replied. Otherwise, they'd love to show off their love. They're always torturing us. Who knows what they'll do on Valentine's Day tomorrow? Tang Chuan thought. Valentine's Day tomorrow. Oh, right. Mr. Wei, have you prepared my present? Jiang Xiaowei looked at her husband. Don't worry. I've been preparing for every year since we got married. Wei Liao said confidently. My man is still working at the city police station, he probably forgot about Valentine's Day. It seems like I won't be able to receive any surprises, just don't scare me. Zhu Lingling pouted. Ning Ning, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. We're going to spend it on the plane. Why don't we book a soft sleeper? What else can we do? Tang Chuan looked at Qin Ning and smirked. Get lost. You wish. Qin Ning's face immediately turned red. Hey. You're thinking too much. I mean, we can lie on the soft sleeper and listen to music, watch movies, and drink red wine. It's so romantic. Tang Chuan explained. In the end, Little Bean couldn't take it anymore. She said, can you guys consider Handsome Sue's feelings? He's a single dog. Do you have to torture him like this? Suyu raised his head innocently. He didn't know what to say for a moment. Lord Su. Do you want me to introduce you to a girl? Spend it with you. Tang Chuan winked at Su Yu. Thank you for your kindness, but there's no need for that. I'd rather live a peaceful life on my own. Besides, I have a meeting at the company tomorrow. I might be busy for the whole day. This kind of festival doesn't matter to me. It's just like any other day. Su Yu said slowly. Lord Su, since you're so free, you can sell flowers during the day, condoms at night, and contraceptives at the hotel entrance the next day. Tang Chuan said. Don't talk nonsense, there's a kid here. Qi Ning secretly pinched Tang Chuan to remind him. It's okay, go on. I know what you're saying. Little Bean raised her head and looked at Tang Chuan with a serious expression. Tang Chuan lowered his head and looked at Little Bean. They looked at each other for 3 seconds. Then, he bowed with both hands. Master, please accept a bow from your disciple. Tang Chuan's comical appearance made everyone burst out laughing. However, Su Yu wasn't happy. He lowered his head and took a sip of beer. He looked worried. Because he was still thinking about the incident just now. If the people he saw were the murderers, then would another innocent person die today? South side, Huamin rushed over. He immediately disinfected the patient, changed his clothes, and rushed into the OR. What's the patient's condition? Deputy Director, this girl is in a terrible state. It looks like someone cut her open on purpose. Please come and take a look, the assistant nurse said. Huamin put on gloves and walked over. When he saw the patient, his expression changed drastically. Chapter 2379. Huamin did not touch surgery except for some difficult gynecology and orthopedic surgeries occasionally. Therefore, the hospital often had emergency patients who were either injured in car accidents or fell at construction sites. She had seen such cases before, but it was the first time she saw such a tragic situation. The girl was lying there on the verge of death. Her face was very pale, but she could vaguely see that her facial features were delicate and she was young. Her injury was indeed serious, but it was caused by an external force. She could tell from the wound that it was a knife wound. In other words, someone had used a knife to cut open her chest and caused her to bleed profusely. Let's stop the bleeding first. We'll start the surgery immediately. Huamin took a deep breath to calm herself down. Then, she worked with 2 surgeons and 3 young nurses to perform this extremely difficult surgery. The surgery lasted for more than 3 hours. When Huamin came out of the operating theater, it was already 12:30 p.m. Because the surgery required a high level of concentration, Huamin felt dizzy and very tired once he relaxed. Someone handed him a glass of water. Huamin picked it up and was about to drink it. He realized that it was not a nurse from his hospital, but an unfamiliar, foreign man. The man did not look young. His eyes flashed with a strange light. The way he looked at him was also very strange. It was as if he was smiling but not smiling. Huamian raised her guard and held the disposable paper cup in her hand. Who are you? I'm a friend of the girl just now. The man spoke in English. Fortunately, Huamin could understand. You're a friend of the patient just now. Huamin obviously did not believe him. Yes, I'm the one who asked the hospital to invite you to perform the surgery. Your medical skills are excellent. I heard that the surgery was very successful. Although the surgery was successful, she's not out of danger yet. She still needs to be observed later. Huamin looked at the man and replied fluently in English. I didn't expect your English to be so good. I heard that you've never studied abroad. The man smiled. You seem to know a lot about me. Huamin became even more alert. A strange man whom she didn't know, and a foreigner at that, said that he was a patient's friend, but he knew her like the back of his hand. How scary was that? Everyone in the hospital is praising you. It's hard not to know. I heard that you're self-taught. Thank you for the compliment. Your friend is in the ICU right now, so it's not suitable for you to visit him. If you want to visit him, you can come tomorrow morning. I'm getting off work. Huamin didn't want to say more. She was going to go to the office to find Qin Chu and then go home together. Are you interested in having a midnight snack with me? The man looked at Huamin with a strange smile. I'm not interested in eating with strangers, Huamin rejected coldly. But if you don't agree to my request, I'll be unhappy. The man continued. So, what do you want? Huamin frowned slightly. She raised her head and looked into the man's eyes without a trace of fear. Everyone around me knows that if I'm unhappy, the consequences are very scary. I really don't want you to see me unhappy. It would be a disaster. Hearing the man's half-threatening words, Huamin suddenly smiled. I don't know if you've heard of this, but there's an old saying in our country. Don't be too stubborn. Do you really think that everyone in the world is your mother? Although it was a little strange to hear these words in English, Huamian still understood the general meaning. So, Huamin was scolding him. Ian widened his eyes in disbelief as he stared at the thin and short Asian face in front of him. Chapter 2380. In the whole world, no one dared to talk to him like this except for that damned girl Lu Yen. No one. His brother Nalo didn't dare, and neither did Hua Xiqian. However, the woman in front of him actually scolded him shamelessly, and even scolded his mother along the way. Maybe it was because of the recent murder case, but Huamin didn't like foreign men. Plus, he was in a bad mood tonight, so he went a little overboard and cursed. Dr. Hua, if you treat me like this, I'll be very sad. Ian looked at Huamin slowly. So what? I think I can. Ian didn't finish his sentence. A voice broke the silence between them. Honey, are you done with work? Qin Chu stood not far away, leaning against the wall in the hallway with a black lighter in his right hand. Mr. Qin was dressed in a black shirt, looking so handsome that he could beat all the idols, celebrities, and male idols out there. Huamin was delighted to see Qin Chu. Yeah, I'm done. I just finished the surgery. Then what are you waiting for? Let's go home. Qin Chu said as he strode over and held Huamin's hand. Okay. With Qin Chu around, Huamin felt much safer and more confident. The couple held hands as they walked past Ian. Qin Chu didn't even look at the foreign man next to him. It was as if he didn't know him at all. Ian stared at their backs until they were far away. Sir, why didn't you order us to do it? Two subordinates appeared behind him. Idiot. This woman's husband isn't simple, didn't we check him out? He's just an ordinary entrepreneur. If you want to say he's not simple, is it because his uncle is Mr. Qin, the CEO of GK? No, it has nothing to do with that. I'm more interested in the lighter in his hand. Ian was a meticulous person. When Qin Chu walked over, he glanced at the black lighter in Qin Chu's hand. He saw a red skull pattern on it, so he didn't dare to act rashly. What's wrong with the lighter? Was it a detonator? Is there a bomb in the hospital? Ian's men guessed. No, his pattern looks like the symbol of the Doomsday Reaper. Doomsday Reaper. How is that possible? Isn't that? The subordinate didn't continue. I'll investigate this matter carefully. After all, I don't want anything to go wrong. Ian said and turned to leave. Qin Chu and Huamin had just left the hospital when Hua Xiqian arrived in his car. Hua Xiqian's men had been observing Ian's movements. When he heard that Ian had come to Southside, Wasichien was terrified. Without another word, he drove straight to Southside, afraid that Ian would do something to Huamin, sir. Wasichien suppressed the fear in his heart and ran to Ian. You're worried too. Are you afraid that I'll do something to your sweetheart? Ian smiled. Sir, my sister, she's just an ordinary doctor and doesn't know anything. Sir, please don't hurt her for the sake of my loyalty to you. She's the only family I have left. For the first time, Wasichien admitted defeat in such a serious manner. It wasn't because he was afraid of Ian, but because he was afraid that Huamin would get hurt. Hua, I've known you for many years, and it's rare to hear you speak so gently. It seems like that woman is really important to you. But I'm curious, if you're so loyal to me, why haven't you found the person I've asked you to find for me all these years? Faced with Ian's questioning, Wasichien felt guilty again. You really can't find her, or did you find her and don't want to tell me about the orphan of the Liu family? Ian leaned closer to Wasichien's nose and stared into his eyes as he interrogated him. Chapter 2381. I really couldn't find him. Wasichien struggled to answer. That's strange. Nalo said you're doing well in China. You're very powerful and you can get away with killing a few people. Why is it so hard to find someone now? Hua, can you explain to me what's going on? Ian laughed maniacally. Wasichien knew this wasn't a good sign. Sir, I've been trying to find the person you're looking for, but that was many years ago. I already told you that Professor Liu and his wife ran away from Dongtao Town. After the baby was born, the people in Dongtao Town started to mysteriously die. Even Dr. Lan's family, who helped the baby, has been missing for many years. The database was burned to ashes, so I don't know where to start. It's not that I don't want to help you, it's just that you're in a lot of trouble. Wasichien had already thought of an excuse, so even if Ian questioned him, he would still say the same thing. I didn't doubt what you told me before, but now. Wasichien, I can't figure you out. Ian stared into Wasichien's eyes and said meaningfully. Sir, if you don't believe me, you can go to Dongtao Town and check it out yourself. Wasichien lowered his head. If I had the time to go to that godforsaken town, what's the point of asking you for help? It was obvious that Ian was very angry. Wasichien didn't dare to say anything. Wasichien, I know what happened back then. Although my brother saved your life, you're not grateful to him, right? Ian suddenly brought up what happened back then. Wasichien was shocked. Sir, it's because you hate him. You think he could have saved you earlier, so why did he wait until it was too late to save you? You even think that my brother was gloating over your misfortune. Wasichien tried to calm himself down so that he wouldn't give himself away. Master, I don't think that way. I'll always remember Master Nalo's kindness for saving my life. You don't have to be afraid. Even if that's the case, it's nothing. You're right. That's what Nalo meant. But he still saved you, which means you're lucky. If I was the one you met, I wouldn't have saved you at all. You might have been crippled by those black guys. At the mention of that stain, Wasichien's face turned pale. That was a past that he didn't want to talk about for the rest of his life, a nightmare that he didn't want to recall for the rest of his life. But Ian just had to say it as a joke. His heart was very uncomfortable. So, it's normal that you don't want to be loyal to my family. I can understand that. So, I'm going to talk to you in a different way. Ian smiled. Then, he moved closer to Wasichien's ear and said, I'll give you 1 month. In 1 month, you have to bring the person I'm looking for to me in Indonesia. Otherwise, your beloved sister, Dr. Hua, oh, no, I should call her Mian, or Mian Mian. She'll become my new toy. What do you think? After hearing what Ian said, Huasiqian's eyes widened. He was so shocked that he couldn't speak. Chapter 2382. Don't worry, I believe that you'll find her. You won't let your precious baby get hurt, right? Then, Ian patted Huasiqian's shoulder and left. Huasiqian stood at the entrance of the hospital, breathing heavily as he digested what Ian had just told him. Ian's words proved that he didn't know that Huamian was Professor Lu's daughter. So, he thought that Huasiqian didn't try his best to find her, or that he was hiding her on purpose. So, after coming here and confirming that she was the woman that Huasiqian cared about, he used her as a threat to make Huasiqian give in to him. Even so, Huasiqian was in a difficult position. If he didn't hand over Huamian in a month, then Huamin would still be in danger. Huasiqian returned to the Mercedes-Benz RV with an ashen face and didn't say a word. Boss, are you okay? His subordinate looked at Huasiqian through the rearview mirror as he drove. I'm fine, Huasiqian said, but his voice was trembling. He was thinking about how to report to Huamian in a month. If he found a fake to fool Ian, he would definitely be exposed. Ian probably had Professor Lu's or Lu Yan's hair, and when he did a DNA test, he would definitely be exposed. But, he couldn't really bring Huamian to Ian. What should I do? What should I do? Huasiqian looked out the window and mumbled to himself. Inside the black Bentley, Qin Chu and Huamin didn't say a word. After driving for a few kilometers, Huamin turned his head to look at Qin Chu's grim face and slowly asked, Honey, I finally understand why you've been so weird lately. You've been so nervous about me, even following me to the ER. You're worried about my safety. Qin Chu took a deep breath but didn't say anything. He just held on to the steering wheel and drove quietly. That foreigner just now. Is he the suspect involved in the recent murder case? And you know him. If you know him, then Gao Ran must know him too. But they can't catch him because he's someone important. A perverted foreigner killing people in a foreign country, and no one dares to stop him. You and Huasiqian both warned me to be careful. So I think that person just now is Ian, right? Huamin had figured out many things the moment he was pulled out by Qin Chu. After connecting the recent events together and making a reasonable deduction, she realized that the foreigner's identity was definitely not simple. The only foreigner who could make Huasiqian and Qin Chu take him seriously was Ian. She had heard of this man many times, but had never met him. Honey. Qin Chu seemed to want to say something. Tell me first, am I right? Is he Ian? Huamin held on to Qin Chu's arm and asked. Yes, he is Ian. Qin Chu nodded. Huamin's expression changed when she heard this. She immediately shouted, Honey, stop the car. What's wrong? Qin Chu didn't know what to do when he saw how anxious Huamin was. If he's Ian, then the girl I just operated on must be a victim. So, if we leave like this, will Ian do something to that girl? Just like how he did to Xiang Xian and Mo Schwecker. No. I have to go back and check. Huamin said as she opened the car door to get out. Mian, are you crazy? Get back here. Qin Chu was a little angry and pulled Huamin back. If I didn't go just now, do you think you'd still be standing there? Qin Chu was even angrier at the mention of this. If he didn't go with her, his stupid wife wouldn't be standing there in one piece after scolding Ian. So, honey, are you trying to tell me that the fearless Ian is afraid of our Mr. Qin? Huamin smiled, but she was actually joking with Qin Chu. Chapter 2384. He's not afraid of me, he's just afraid of the thing in my hand. Chin Chu paused. Afraid of what? Huamin was confused as he looked at Chin Chu. It's okay. I'll tell you about it later. It's useless to talk about it now. Anyways, from now on, you have to be with me at all times. I'll ask for leave from the hospital for you. You can't go there anymore because Ian has started to notice you. I don't know how he found you, but you're not safe now. Okay, I'll listen to you. Huamin was very obedient this time and listened to Chin Chu's arrangements. After the car arrived at South Hill Manor, you go back first. I'm going to the Municipal Public Security Bureau to see Gao Ran. Okay, be careful, Huamin reminded him. Then, Chin Chu drove to the Municipal Public Security Bureau. When he saw Gao Ran again, he noticed that his eyes were bloodshot. Before Chin Chu could say anything, Gao Ran laughed at himself. I haven't slept for 3 days and 3 nights. Damn it. I'm so tired. You won't be able to solve the problem if you don't sleep. Why don't you take a nap? Chin Chu looked at him calmly. The thing is, I can't sleep at all, my head is full of these things. Oh right, my subordinates found out that Ian took another girl from the bar tonight. There's no news of her death yet, I wonder if she's still alive. She's still alive, Chin Chu replied. How do you know? Gao Ran looked at Chin Chu in confusion. Because the girl was sent to South Side, and Mian was the one who operated on her, huh? Gao Ran was shocked. Then, Chin Chu briefly explained the situation at South Side to Gao Ran. Hearing this, Gao Ran's face darkened again. Fuck, this bastard is too cruel. No, I have to think of something. Gao Ran paced around anxiously with his hands on his hips. What do you have in mind? Chin Chu looked at him calmly. I plan to come up with a plan and then get rid of Ian. Gao Ran made a throat-slitting gesture. Get rid of Ian. Chin Chu frowned slightly. He didn't think it was a good idea. What's with your expression? Gao Ran could tell that Chin Chu didn't agree. Old Gao, are you stupid? I remember telling you what kind of person Ian is, right? You did, but I don't care anymore. I don't care if he's the Jade Emperor or the King of Hell. I can't let him do whatever he wants on my turf. Chu, he's not killing cows or sheep, he's killing people. Bloody human lives. I understand now. As long as Ian doesn't leave, innocent people will continue to die here, and the way they die is extremely cruel. I can't let him continue like this. I don't believe that I can't kill him with a dozen snipers, bait, and ambush him. Even if he has 3 heads and 6 arms, I will do whatever it takes to make him die here. He won't be able to leave. Gao Ran was pushed too hard, so he was on the verge of a mental breakdown. That was why he had the idea of going against Ian. Let's not talk about whether you can successfully ambush him. Even if you kill Ian, have you thought about the consequences? Chin Chu looked at Gao Ran calmly and asked. No, I'll kill him first. It's not Gao Ran's style to be overcautious. I've had enough of cowering like a sissy. This time, even if I die, I'll fight him with my life. Gao Ran was ready to risk everything. Chapter 2385. You know Ian's organization, right? It's the most famous terrorist organization, and even the FBI can't do anything about it. Every year, they train countless suicide bombers, and they're responsible for the most famous hijacking of a plane in Palestine. In 2009, the rebels in Syria bombed a certain country's president's house. They have a shocking amount of explosives and the most fanatical terrorist ideology. If Ian dies here, then our city will will become a tourist destination for terrorists. We won't be able to get a single shred of peace. They might even harm the interests of the country. Gao Ran listened and licked his dry lips, but he couldn't refute a single word. Because he knew that Qin Chu was never a person who liked to exaggerate. Every word he said was carefully considered. Next is Ian's family. Ian has a twin brother called Nalo, who is the leader of the biggest mafia in Germany. He has a good relationship with mafia from all over the world, and he has a close relationship with the Yamaguchi-gumi. When the news of his brother's death spreads out, he will lose face. Do you think he'll just let it go? Not only will he kill you, but he'll also kill the snipers in his family, as well as your Lingling and Buyuan. Think about it carefully. Do you really want them to live a life of being hunted down? Of course I don't want to, but is there no other way? Are we just going to sit here and wait for death? Gao Ran was in a dilemma. Of course not. I mean, even if we want to get rid of Ian, we can't do it here. We can't expose our identities. We can't let anyone have something on us. Qin Chu said. But it's not that easy. Gao Ran was annoyed. It's not easy. That's why he's a terrifying terrorist leader. Qin Chu looked at Ian's situation calmly. So I'm just going to do nothing. Gao Ran had been a police officer for many years, and this was the first time he felt so frustrated. Don't take it too seriously. I'll find a way to make Ian leave as soon as possible. He's a burden to me here. Okay, you're right. It seems like the plan to ambush him with snipers has to be put on hold for now. Gao Ran sighed slightly. Bro, cheer up. We'll have a war with Ian sooner or later. Trust me. Before Qin Chu left, he patted Gao Ran's shoulder. When Qin Chu returned from the city bureau, it was already late at night. The twins were already asleep. When he entered the bedroom, Huamin was already asleep. You're back. Huamin lazily turned over when he heard Huamin's voice. Honey, tomorrow is Valentine's Day. What do you want? Qin Chu gently kissed Huamin's forehead. We've been married for so long, why would I want a present? Huamin said half-heartedly. Okay then. Go to sleep. Qin Chu took off his shirt and hugged Huamin from behind. Russia, in a castle in the suburbs of Moscow, tell Psycho Qiao to get his ass over here. Chapter 2386. A young lady, please calm down. The young master really isn't in Moscow right now. The butler was in a difficult position. Don't try to fool me with such lies. Who would believe that? Tell Psycho Qiao that if he doesn't come to see me, I'll blow this place up. Lu Yan was losing her patience. Although Psycho Qiao promised to help her take care of the situation in the country, she didn't know where that bastard was. No one told her what was going on in the country. Did that psycho Ian leave or not? Were her sister and the twins hurt? She felt that if she continued to live in Moscow, she would go crazy. She didn't like the people in this country at all. People here rarely smiled and were cold to each other. Men were superior to women. Most of the men drank at home and had nothing to do. They let their wives go out to work and earn money. Luckily, the Qiao family was Chinese. Otherwise, Lu Yan would rather die than have anything to do with Qiao Fei. A young lady, I'm telling the truth. The butler was about to cry as he tried to explain to Lu Yan. Come on, I'm not a young lady. I'm not married yet. Don't flatter the Qiao family. If you piss me off, I'll blow this place up. Lu Yan was the opposite of Huamin. She had a bad temper. She would blow things up without saying anything. Studying explosives had been Lu Yan's hobby since she was a child. In the years when she was separated from her dad, she had to study all kinds of high-quality explosives to avoid being hunted down. In the beginning, she felt guilty about blowing up one person. Later, she didn't feel guilty about blowing up hundreds of people. Indeed, this required a very strong mental fortitude. Just then, Lu Yan's phone rang. Like her dad's, her phone was the most advanced. The watch replaced everything. When she called, it would show the other party's virtual image. Lu Yan suppressed her anger and pressed the answer button. Xiao Fei, who was wearing a Navy Russian military uniform, immediately appeared on the screen. Yan, don't bully the servants, bully the servants. It's your servants who are bullying me. You're treating me like a prisoner. Xiao Fei. Do you want to die? Why did you leave me here alone? The temperature in Moscow is freezing. I'm not going to stay here anymore, okay? Lu Yan scolded him. But Xiao Fei was not angry at all. Instead of answering Lu Yan's question, he said, "Your sister is fine, and so are the twins." No more. What about Ian? Are you still in Sea City? Lu Yan was anxious. Yes, Xiao Fei replied. No, I can't rest easy if he doesn't leave. Lu Yan was still worried when she heard that Ian hadn't left. Xiaoyan, I'm in Brazil right now. I have something to discuss. If you're still worried when I get back, I'll accompany you to City C immediately. Is that okay? Xiao Fei was only so patient with Lu Yan. He spoke as if he was coaxing a child. He thought Lu Yan wouldn't agree, but to his surprise, she changed her mind. All right, that's the only way. Come back quickly. Okay. Xiao Fei hung up the phone after saying, okay. A young lady, we didn't lie to you, right? Young master really isn't in Moscow, right? The butler looked wronged. Yeah. Lu Yan nodded thoughtfully. Then hurry up and eat breakfast. We'll make you a new one. Okay, go do your work. Lu Yan waved her hand and turned to go upstairs. Inside the bedroom, after confirming that there were no bugs, Lu Yan opened the contact list on her watch. She quietly dialed a number, "Boss." "Your orders." The man on the other end of the phone was respectful. "Take Ghost 1 from my first safe and drop it in Ian's branch in Indonesia." Chapter 2387. Boss, you're going to use Ghost number 1. Yes. But you should know the power of Ghost number 1. Won't it cause chaos? This is the bomb I invented. How could I not know its power? I'm telling you to do it, just do it. Why are you spouting so much nonsense? Lu Yan was furious. But, one more word and you'll disappear from the earth with Ghost number 1, Lu Yan ordered. Okay, boss, I'll do it right away. 5 hours later, Ian had just walked into a bar. Before he could sit down, he heard a report from one of his subordinates. Boss, half an hour ago, our branch in Indonesia was bombed by an unknown enemy. We suffered heavy losses. What did you say? Ian's face instantly darkened. Our branch in Indonesia was indeed attacked. The subordinate reported with a trembling voice. What weapon? Ian suppressed his anger. God knows how much effort he had put into the branch in Indonesia for the past 3 years. It's a very explosive bomb. I've never seen it before. It's probably the latest model. Our people retrieved the remains of the bomb and are still researching it. I believe we'll know the results and the composition of the bomb soon. After hearing this, Ian's face turned even uglier. As the leader of the world's top terrorist organization, he was most proud of his ability to create terrorist incidents. Most of the time, he used bombs to bomb other people's territory, easily killing dozens of people. But now, his territory was bombed. Moreover, the enemy used explosives, which he was most proficient in. It had to be said that this incident was a slap to Ian's face. In the past few years, the most talented people in his base were explosives experts. They could create all kinds of explosives. The reason why he wanted to capture Professor Liu and Liu Yen was because of their talents. Wait. Liu Yen. When he thought of this name, Ian gradually calmed down. It must be that damned girl Liu Yen. It must be her. Although Ian had a lot of enemies, other than Liu Yen, there was no one else who could locate his branch in Indonesia in such a short amount of time and use the latest explosives. We also suspect that Second Miss did it, but we haven't caught the person carrying the bomb yet. As long as we catch her, we'll know if it's her or not. There's no doubt about it. It must be her. Seriously, I haven't been chasing her so hard recently, and she took the initiative to come to me. It seems like I was too kind to her before. A cold light flashed in Ian's eyes. He had fought with Liu Yen many times in the past few years, but he always wanted to capture her alive, not wanting to endanger her safety. That was why Liu Yen managed to escape every time. The last time on the plane was the closest he had ever gotten to Liu Yen. Initially, he thought that it was a sure thing, but Professor Liu, who was in disguise, intercepted him and rescued him. It seemed that this father and daughter pair were not easy to deal with. Sir, should we give the order to kill the Second Miss? Ian's subordinate asked cautiously. Kill order. Oh. No, I still don't want her to die. After all, she's the only toy I've been interested in the past few years. I must catch her and teach her a lesson. Otherwise, I won't be able to get rid of the hatred in my heart. After speaking, Ian downed the whiskey in his glass and turned to leave. The absolute kill order was the highest secret order of Ian's terrorist organization. Once the absolute kill order was issued, once the order was given, the hundreds of elites in the terrorist organization would search the entire world for the target and kill them at all costs. They would even use suicide bombers to take the target down with them. This was the scariest thing about the terrorists. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that they were anti-human. Ian left the bar in a hurry, no longer in the mood to hunt women. Sir, should we go find Mr. Hua now? Chapter 2388. No, we'll leave immediately. Ian didn't care about a small fry like Hua Xiqian. He had already made it very clear that he would only give Hua Xiqian 1 month. He believed that Hua Xiqian would make a decision. Regardless of whether or not Hua Xiqian brought people with him, Ian and Hua Xiqian would have a final outcome. Half an hour later, the helicopter arrived at international waters. Ian and his subordinates took a speedboat and boarded the helicopter. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. When Gao Ran's men received the news and rushed to the harbor, they were already gone. When Gao Ran heard that Ian had left, he felt as if a huge rock had been lifted off his chest. He even called Qin Chu. 2 a.m, Chu, what time is it now? Qin Chu answered the phone in a daze. He was quite dissatisfied. I have good news for you, Ian left the city. Gao Ran's voice was filled with joy. After all, they had finally gotten rid of the plague. Oh. Is that so? Qin Chu was a lot more awake after hearing the news. The news is accurate. When our men found out, they had already left. They took a speedboat to international waters, and then a helicopter came to pick them up. They flew directly to the south. I don't know why that guy suddenly changed his mind. But this time, I'll ask the customs to tighten security so that foreigners can't enter the country so easily. Gao Ran emphasized. That won't work. If Ian wanted to come, he could easily come. But what I want to know is, now that Ian is gone, what are you going to do about the people who died? The higher-ups are still pressuring you, how are you going to deal with it? Chin Chu knew that Gao Ran's position was very difficult. He couldn't possibly tell his superiors the whole story about Ian, and no one would believe him anyway. Well, I've discussed it with my boss, and we can only catch some wanted criminals and use them as scapegoats. This case has to be closed, or else people will panic. That's a good idea. Well, you don't have to worry so much. Now I can finally have a good night's sleep. Gao Ran smiled and hung up the phone. Chin Chu hung up the phone and turned around. He saw that Huamin had also woken up. It's already so late. Who's calling? Huamin wasn't suspicious of Chin Chu because of what Ji Xin had told her before. She was just afraid that he was hiding something from her, so she was quite vigilant. Gao Ran, really? Could it be that some woman is pestering my husband? Huamin smiled mysteriously. TCH. Is your husband that untrustworthy? Chin Chu took the phone and let Huamin look at the call history. You didn't save that woman's name in Gao Ran's account to confuse the public, did you? Huamin's imagination ran wild. Chin Chu was speechless. Honey, it's the middle of the night. Why aren't you sleeping? Are you trying to cause trouble? Chin Chu chuckled. It's true. Did you do something behind my back? Huamin reached out her index finger and tapped Chin Chu's lips. Why don't you call this number and you'll know if it's really Gao Ran or if I saved it on purpose? Chin Chu looked at Huamin, amused. No way. I'll keep playing dumb. If it really is a woman's voice, I'll be sad. Huamin pursed her lips. Yeah, you're right. It's possible to hear a woman's voice. Chin Chu said on purpose. Chapter 2389. Okay, see. You confessed without being pressed, didn't you? Huamin pouted. I'm not done yet, why are you in such a hurry? What I mean is, if you call Gao Ran's number and a woman picks up, it must be Zhu Lingling. Chin Chu explained. Pfft. Huamin turned her head away. Obviously, her husband had brushed her off. However, she put her finger on Mr. Chin's lips. What was the meaning of this? Chin Chu opened his mouth and sucked on her pale finger. Instantly, a tingling sensation spread throughout her body. Hey, what are you doing? Are you a puppy? Huamin felt ticklish and tried to pull her finger back, but Chin Chu bit down on it tightly. He controlled his strength perfectly, so she didn't feel any pain. However, she couldn't pull her finger back. Huamin wanted to continue protesting, but she realized that her pajamas had been taken off without her noticing. Immediately, she was naked. Hey, you. She didn't have a chance to finish her sentence because before she could, Chin Chu pounced on her. With Ian's departure, Chin Chu's guard was instantly lifted. On a night like this, he just wanted to enjoy the world with Huamin. On the other hand, Gao Ran was in a good mood. After discussing the scapegoat plan with his boss, he typed out a detailed report on his computer and prepared to give the bosses in the province an explanation. By the time he finished, it was already 3 a.m. When he walked out of his office, he realized that his subordinates were still at work and were forcing themselves to stay awake. You guys haven't left yet. Gao Ran was surprised. Chief Gao, you haven't left yet. How could we chase you away? The young policeman flattered him. Ahem, okay, then I'll announce that the murderer of the murder case has been arrested and the case is closed. You guys can go home and sleep now. You've all worked overtime recently, so I'll treat you guys to dinner tomorrow night. Aw. Chief Gao, is what you said true? You're not lying to us, are you? When have I ever lied to you? Gao Ran rolled his eyes at them. But, boss, when and where were the culprits caught? Because the people who were tracking Ian were all first-class special police officers, it was all confidential. These junior officers in the office didn't know, and Gao Ran didn't plan to let them know. Ah. Well, when the murderer was on the loose in another province, he was jointly arrested by our special police and the foreign criminal police. Anyway, this matter is considered closed. Everyone, don't worry, let's get off work. After Gao Ran said this, the office was filled with cheers. After that, Gao Ran dragged his tired body out of the police station and drove the black Jaguar home. Fortunately, the house was very close. They arrived in a few minutes. When Gao Ran entered the room, he found that the light in the bedroom was still on. He was afraid that he would disturb his wife and son's sleep, so he tried to be as gentle as possible. Zhu Lingling opened the door and came out in blue cotton pajamas. You're back. Why aren't you asleep yet? Look at the time. Gao Ran turned around and saw Zhu Lingling's dark circles, and his heart ached for her. I was worried about you. I couldn't sleep. Zhu Lingling pouted. Where's Boyuan? I sent him to Mom's place. It's not very peaceful these days. After all, Dad used to be a leader, and he retired with bodyguards, so it's safer for him to live there. So, I sent Boyuan there. Ha, you're smart. Why didn't you go with him? I don't want to miss you and your son. Chapter 2390. What are you going to do if I'm gone? I'm going to wait for you at home. Zhu Lingling had been feeling uneasy lately. As a family member of a police officer, she had to put in more effort than normal people. She was constantly worried that her husband would be in danger, but she didn't know who to talk to. Although Zhu Lingling was usually loud and boisterous, she was actually quite meticulous. She was also completely devoted to Gao Ran. You are so silly. I'm the director, how could anything happen to me? I'm just drinking tea in my office and reading the newspaper. When there's a case, I'll analyze the situation, give orders, and come up with a plan. How could I be in danger? Gao Ran casually explained with a smile. Don't pretend, we've known each other for so many years, we've known each other for as long as Mian and Qin Chu have known each other. Do you think I don't know you? You're not a coward who only knows how to comfort himself and is afraid of death. When you get angry, you're even fiercer than a northeastern tiger. Don't think that I don't know. When I brought you food, I heard from the police officers that you've been out on missions. If you run into that psychopathic murderer, you could get into a gunfight with him at any time. Zhu Lingling choked up when she said this. God knew how scared she was. Gao Ran's heart softened at the sight of his wife, who was usually a tough woman, acting like a fragile child. He walked back and gently hugged Zhu Lingling in his arms. Lingling, don't worry, I'm back in one piece, right? Gao Ran comforted her. Bullshit, how can I not worry? You're my husband, if anything happens to you, I'll be a widow. No, you're still young and beautiful, can you find another husband? Gao Ran teased her. To his surprise, Zhu Lingling was so agitated that she raised her fist and punched Gao Ran. Stop talking nonsense, I'll kill you. Ah. Honey, are you trying to break a rock on my chest? Fuck off. Zhu Lingling wiped her tears and smiled. You haven't slept or changed your clothes for the past few days, I'm so worried. Go take a shower. Zhu Lingling pushed Gao Ran into the bathroom. Why are you in such a hurry for me to take a shower? Are you trying to hint at something? Gao Ran smirked. No. Don't think too much. I'm just annoyed that you stink, okay? Zhu Lingling's face a little bit red. I'm not overthinking it, I think. I think Wei Yuan is too lonely. Our country's family to have a second child's all. S to have a child to have a baby to have a baby. You're to have a baby. Zhu Hua to have a baby. Hua to have a baby 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 baby you to have to do that. You're to have a baby to have a baby to have a baby. Zhu huddled to be to have a baby. Come on, I'm serious. Qin Chu and Huamin are both planning to have a second child. We can't fall behind. Maybe we'll be in-laws if we have a second child. Haha, then half of the GK Corporation will be ours. We'll become rich instantly. Gao Ran teased. In your dreams. Mian didn't say she wanted a second child. She's just going with the flow, okay? Then let's go with the flow. Gao Ran was already at the door of the bathroom, but he suddenly walked back. He stuck himself onto Zhu Lingling's body and moved his hands up and down her body flirtatiously. Hey! What are you doing? Why aren't you taking a shower? Zhu Lingling knew what he was doing, but she still refused to admit it. I'll take a shower after we're done. Otherwise, it'll be a waste of all the work I've been doing lately. Honey, it's time for you to serve me. Gao Ran pressed Zhu Lingling down onto the sofa, and the air was filled with love. It was, without a doubt, a perfect night to have a baby. However, some people were happy, while others were sad. Lu Yan used the ghost number 1 to blow up Ian's Indonesian branch, causing a huge commotion that even affected the Indonesian government. Therefore, she was listed as public enemy number 1 by Ian and the Indonesian government. Late at night, Lu Yan wore a black windbreaker and left Qiao Fei's castle with her simple luggage. Moscow International Airport. Lu Yan was waiting in line to board the plane when someone suddenly pressed down on her shoulder, startling her. Chapter 2391. Lu Yan reacted quickly. The moment she turned around, the gun in her right hand was already aimed at the man's waist. Because of the loose coat, she didn't attract the attention of the passers-by. Qiao Fei. Lu Yan froze when she saw that it was Qiao Fei behind her. Then, she quickly put away her gun. Where are you going? Qiao Fei's gaze was no longer gentle and doting. Instead, it was filled with anger. Leaving this place. I'm running around. Lu Yan licked her lips, unperturbed. Do you like living like this? Qiao Fei asked. What's the difference if I like it or not? I'm used to it anyways. Lu Yan had been separated from her father ever since she was young because of her identity. Speaking of which, she had to hide her identity. Back when she was studying at West Point in America, it was one of the most peaceful years of her life. After she graduated, she gathered her friends and formed a mercenary group. In just a few years, she rose up in the industry and became one of the top mercenary groups in the world. Because of this, Lu Yan was given a famous nickname, Second Young Mistress. In the world of mercenaries and assassins, not many people knew about Lu Yan. Second Young Mistress was like thunder to one's ears. Some legends about this girl had been circulating in the industry. She even became the idol of many newcomers, and the object of worship. Come back with me. Qiao Fei grabbed Lu Yan's hand and walked out, suppressing the anger in his heart. Let go of me, I'm not going back. Lu Yan struggled to break free. Do you want to die? Do you know how much trouble you've caused? Qiao Fei gritted his teeth and looked at Lu Yan. Even though he was furious, he couldn't bear to scold her. I know, I didn't blow up Ian's branch. It's not like I blew up his base. What's there to be afraid of? Lu Yan had always been fearless. Even if the king of hell came, she would still be like this. She had been on the edge of a knife since she was young and was used to being arrogant. That's not all. You've also attracted the attention of the Indonesian government and the spies of various Western countries. I heard that the Indonesian government has already offered $1 billion for your head. Xiao Fei was just short of saying, Yen, you need to be more careful, $1 billion. So fucking stingy. My head is only worth $1 billion. You're underestimating me. Lu Yan didn't seem to care about the bounty on her head. Instead, she blamed the other party for paying too little. $1 billion. That's the highest price in the industry. Yen, your life. All the assassins in the world are after you. You've become everyone's target. I promise you that as soon as you leave Russia, no matter where you go, you'll be hunted down. Xiao Fei calmly analyzed the situation for him. Isn't that normal? I've been living like this since I was a kid. It'd be weird if no one tried to kill me one day. Lu Yan chewed on her gum, not minding Xiao Fei's words at all. So, you don't care if you live or die, do you? Xiao Fei could tell that this lady was going to risk her life. If I was afraid of death, Lu Yan wouldn't be who she is today. Psycho Xiao, is this your first day meeting me? Don't ask such an idiotic question, okay? The little girl retorted. Xiao Fei was furious. But that wasn't what angered him the most. What angered him the most was what Lu Yan said next. Chapter 2392. Psycho Xiao. Thank you for taking me in during this time. But I'm leaving now. If I'm lucky enough to survive, I'll definitely thank you properly when I get the chance. Oh right, I've already ordered someone to ship the batch of firearms I intercepted in Mexico to you on a cruise ship. The captain is a very reliable friend of mine. You can feel free to accept the goods. According to the market price, that batch of goods is worth a few $100 million. But this time, I'll give it to you for free. Just treat it as my accommodation and food expenses. Bye-bye. Then, Lu Yan pulled down the black cap on her head and turned to walk into the crowd, eager to board the plane. Lu Yan. Do you even have a heart? Xiao Fei looked at the girl's back with heartache, feeling terrible. Young master. What should we do now? Seeing Xiao Fei's face turn green with anger, his subordinates became anxious as well. Stop her. Do whatever it takes. Xiao Fei knew very well what Lu Yan would face after leaving Russia. He would never let her take that risk. Whether she wanted to or not, she had to stay in Russia at this sensitive time. After Xiao Fei gave the order, his subordinates rushed up and attacked Lu Yan. What do you want? Lu Yan looked at them warily. Young madam, we're sorry. The few of them rushed forward. Lu Yan was about to board the plane but was stopped by them. She was furious. She fought with these people at the airport, and the airport security and the police came immediately. When they saw Xiao Fei, they stopped immediately. My people are working. I don't need you to interfere. Back off, Xiao Fei shouted coldly. The police and security all backed off dozens of meters. Lu Yan saw that she would miss the plane if she was stopped. She had no choice but to take out her pistol. I don't want to shoot. Don't force me. Let me go. Lu Yan had just finished speaking when she felt a numbing sensation on her neck. It turned out that one of Xiao Fei's subordinates who was good at using hidden weapons had used a few tranquilizer needles on her. Lu Yan thought they were on her side and didn't want to fight with them, so she was careless and fell to the ground, Xiao Fei immediately rushed up and hugged her tightly before she fell to the ground. "Let's go home." Then he said 2 words. After settling Lu Yan down, Xiao Fei called Lu Yan's father, Professor Lu. Then, he called Qin Chu and told him about the trouble Lu Yan had caused. He also told him that Ian wouldn't go to Sea City for the time being. To be honest, Qin Chu was to be shocked. He didn't know how powerful Ghost Number 1 was, but to make Ian to leave Sea City, to leave it must have been very destructive. Lu Yan's used this method to protect her sister and the twins, to protect her, to put herself and the twins to herself. However, he also put himself in danger. If Hua Mian knew about this, she would be devastated. Lu was to Lu, Hun, Lu, Hua, to leave, to die, to die, to die, to go to's her. Then don't tell my sister. With Lu Yan's temper. I don't know what she's like, but I know she wants to protect my sister and the kids at all costs. To me, to of the to of a, to of a, to of to have to. To Lu of us is. Brother-in-law, we're all family. There's no need to be so polite. What should we do now? Lu Yan must be in danger, right? Qin Chu was still worried when he heard that the Indonesian government had offered $1 billion for Lu Yan's life. Chapter 2393. As long as she stays in Russia, no one will dare to do anything to her. Don't worry, I'll take care of her. Okay. After hanging up with Qin Chu, one of his subordinates came to report, "Young master, Miss Yen woke up and wants you to go over." Xiao Fei nodded and went into the bedroom. Lu Yan was still under the effects of the anesthetic, so she couldn't get up from the bed and had no strength left in her body. As soon as Xiao Fei entered the room, she started yelling at him. "Psycho Xiao, do you want to die? How dare you use anesthetic on me? Do you want water?" Xiao Fei ignored Lu Yan's question and asked. "Drink my ass. Let me go. Otherwise, I'll blow up your base. Do you believe me?" Those who knew Lu Yan knew that she was a girl who would use bombs whenever she felt like it. Furthermore, they never boasted. Basically, they would bomb whoever they wanted, just like the branch that Ian had painstakingly built in Indonesia. Lu Yan's Ghost Number 1 could blow it up in a matter of minutes. Although the repercussions were huge and the consequences weren't ideal, Lu Yan had always been someone who didn't care about the consequences. Unlike Hua Min, Lu Yan was more impulsive and would do whatever she wanted to do. Hua Min, on the other hand, would calmly analyze the situation and make a decision after weighing the pros and cons. "Yen, you can't leave." Xiao Fei looked at her seriously. "If I don't leave, am I supposed to be a coward here for the rest of my life?" Lu Yan retorted. "So what? It's not like I can't afford to raise you," Xiao Fei replied slowly. I'm speechless. Psycho Xiao, are you trying to put me under house arrest? If that's how you see it, I won't argue with you. My dad won't like you if you treat me like this. Let me tell you, I already called the professor and told him that you're safe. He also told you to stay here. What the? How could you do that? Do you have any humanity left? Let me tell you, my subordinates know that I'm locked up here and will come to save me. They'll make a mess of your life. Lu Yan tried to scare him. I won't give your subordinates any chance to enter the country. You. Lu Yan almost rolled her eyes. She was the queen of mercenaries, the famous second Mississippi. She was actually ambushed by this perverted guy with an anesthetic and then inexplicably put under house arrest. Seeing that force didn't work, Lu Yan decided to change her strategy. She smiled gently at Xiao Fei and said, Brother Chow Fei, you can't treat me like this. Can't we talk things over? How barbaric of you to lock me up like this. Ahem. Chow Fei's subordinates' eyes almost fell out of their sockets when they saw Lu Yan's expression. Why did such gentle words sound so creepy when they came out of Lu Yan's mouth? However, Chow Fei was still very calm. He was not tempted by the sugar-coated bullets. What do you want to eat for lunch? How about steak? Don't you like shrimp dumplings the most? I've invited the Cantonese chef from my dad's place to cook for you, okay? Lu Yan suppressed her anger, then she smiled like a blooming flower. Okay. But I promise you that I'll eat my lunch. After that, you'll let me go, okay? No. Chow Fei refused without hesitation. Fuck. I really want to shoot you. Lu Yan couldn't keep up the act anymore. If she wasn't under the influence of the anesthetic, she would have jumped up and punched Chow Fei in the face. His indifferent attitude was infuriating. Chapter 2394. Young Master. Old Master wants you to go to the old mansion and take care of some things, the subordinate whispered into Chow Fei's ear. Okay. Chow Fei nodded and got up to leave. Chow Fei. Lu Yan called out unwillingly. Chow Fei stopped in his tracks but didn't turn around. His silver hair looked even more dazzling under the sunlight. Who would have thought that such a handsome, cold, and handsome young man would be the young master of Russia's largest Chinese mafia? He was a bloodthirsty young man who could kill people by himself since he was 7 years old. He and Lu Yan had a similar childhood and life, which was why they were so close to each other. Therefore, when he saw Lu Yan for the first time, he thought she might be the missing rib in his body. Once a person has something that they care about, something that they are determined to do, and someone that they are determined to love deeply, the person that they are determined to love deeply, their life would be much better. To Chow Fei, Lu Yan was his life's goal. She was the only person who made him feel like there was something beautiful in the world. However, that girl didn't know how important she was to him. Seeing that Chow Fei was about to leave and that she was going to be locked up again, Lu Yan became anxious. She tried to convince Chow Fei, so she put away her usual playful side and said seriously, Chow Fei, you can't take me in, I'll bring you trouble. Ian won't stop hunting me down. I pissed him off this time, so he won't let me go. The Indonesian government won't let me go either. With a $1 billion bounty on my head, I think all the assassins in the world will be willing to take my head. If you keep me, I'll be a burden to you. So, let me go, really. She added the word really at the end to emphasize that she wasn't joking. She was very serious. After Chow Fei heard this, he fell silent for 3 seconds, then, he turned to look at Lu Yan, and his eyes gradually softened. If I was afraid, I wouldn't have taken you in from the beginning. Yan, remember, if one day the whole world betrays you, then I will betray the whole world with you. After saying this, Chow Fei turned around and walked out of the room. Lu Yan was left behind, dumbfounded. Is this guy confessing to me? Lu Yan was dumbfounded. A young lady, our young master loves you wholeheartedly. I've never seen him treat any woman so well. Of course, the only woman who could get close to him, other than his late mother, is you. You have to cherish him. The butler who stayed behind to take care of Lu Yan wanted to defend Chow Fei. Lu Yan took a deep breath. In fact, she knew that Chow Fei was being kind by letting her stay, but if she continued to stay, the Chow family will definitely be in big trouble. Russia will not be a permanent harbor. In the past, Ian wasn't willing to come to Russia to capture people because he was wary of the Chow family's influence and didn't want to offend them. But this time, she had caused such a big trouble. Ian would definitely be furious. When he went crazy, why would he care about the Chow family? Besides, as the leader of the mercenary world, it wasn't Lu Yan's style to be a coward. With her fiery temper, she would rather die in battle than hide behind others and drag out an ignoble existence. 5 a.m. in the morning, Huamin and Qin Chu drove Tang Chuan and Qin Ning to the airport. Chapter 2395. By the time they drove back, Uncle Li had already prepared breakfast for them. As the couple enjoyed their breakfast, Qin Chu remembered what Gao Ran told him last night. He glanced at Huamin and said, "Ian already left." "Huh? That fast?" Huamin was surprised, and her hand that was holding the bread and butter paused slightly. "What? You sound like you don't want him to leave." Qin Chu teased her. "Nonsense, I'm not. I just don't think he came here for a vacation. Maybe he's here for something. He killed so many people in a row. Why would he leave so easily? He's not scared of the police, is he?" Huamian guessed. "Of course not. Why would someone like him be scared of the police? Then what is he doing? That's weird." Huamin lowered her head and pondered. Qin Chu didn't dare to tell Huamin that Lu Yan did it because she would be worried about Lu Yan. So, he gave her a perfunctory answer. Someone like Ian wouldn't be so free. He's a terrorist who wants the whole world to fall into chaos. So, he must be interested in something else. That's why he left. That's great. We don't have to worry about him anymore. It's just that, it's such a pity for the innocent people who died. Ian killed so many people and got away with it. I really don't like it. And Mo Schwaber, she's so unlucky. I never thought that she would die in Ian's hands. Someone like Ian will be punished by the heavens sooner or later. Qin Chu comforted Huamin. Then, "Honey, can I go back to work now?" Huamin asked excitedly as soon as the alarm was lifted. "Yeah, you can go back to work tomorrow," Qin Chu answered as he ate his fried egg slowly. "Why not today?" Huamin's eyes widened. "Come with me to a place today. We have a lot of things to do." "Where?" Huamin's curiosity was immediately piqued. Before Qin Chu could answer, he heard footsteps behind him. It turned out that his parents and the twins were awake. "Daddy and Mommy are getting out of hand. They always sneak in here and don't even call us." Little Bean walked down with sleepy eyes. Her pigtails were sticking out, making her look very funny. "It's all because you guys woke up late. We have to go to work, so of course, we ate earlier." Huamin looked at Little Bean and smiled. "Daddy, hug me." Little Bean approached Qin Chu and opened her chubby arms. Qin Chu dotingly picked up his daughter. Little Bean kissed Qin Chu on the cheek. "Good morning, Daddy. I love you." "Hey, Little Bean is acting weird today. What's going on? Did you get into trouble?" Huamin felt that something was wrong when he saw his daughter act like a spoiled child and confess to her daddy in all sorts of ways. "You're drooling all over my face, Little Bean." Qin Chu looked at his daughter, amused. "Daddy, the flatterer is kissing up to you again. Be careful. It's a trap." Little Bean sat down beside Huamin obediently and reminded her dad with a smile. "Daddy, don't listen to her. I slept really well last night and I'm in a really good mood. That's why I'm acting like this," Little Bean explained. Qin Chu gave her a knowing look. "Daddy, I want to eat that grilled sausage. Little Bean pointed at it. Chin-Chu immediately picked up the sausage with a fork and put it in front of his daughter's mouth. Be careful, it's hot. He gently reminded her. Chapter 2396. Seeing how patient Chin-Chu was, Hua-min suddenly felt that people who thought Chin-Chu was cold and unapproachable didn't know him at all. In front of his daughter, he could throw away all his principles and willingly become her slave. Daddy, are you working today? Little Bean asked as she ate the sausage. What do you want to do? Chin-Chu asked. Oh, I'm obsessed with a TV show. The male lead bought a hoverbike for his daughter. Wow, it's so cool. I was thinking, what's there to show off? I'm sure you'll buy one for me too. Although it's only a few thousand yuan, you're rich. No, you're super rich. You won't care about a few thousand yuan, right? Here's the main point. A hoverbike. Hua-min laughed. Mommy, what do you think? Am I right? Little Bean definitely has a motive for kissing up to you, Pudding said proudly as she looked at Hua-min. Of course, you're the one who knows your sister the best. Hua-min gave Pudding a thumbs up. Daddy, you'll sell it to me and Sis, right? Sis really wants it too. Seeing that her daddy didn't say anything, Little Bean was afraid that he wouldn't agree, so she immediately brought up her sister. Little Bean, if you want a hoverbike, you're dragging me down with you. That's not very nice of you. Pudding expressed her dissatisfaction. Little Bean immediately gave her a look that said, Sis, please cooperate with me. Other than hoverbikes, is there anything else? Chin-Chu asked calmly. Of course. Daddy, it'd be best if you buy a few more. After all, I have friends now and I have to protect my circle of friends. Little Bean smiled innocently. Circle of friends. You mean, not only will I buy one for you and Sis, but I'll also buy a few more for you to give to your friends, right? Chin-Chu asked. Daddy, you're so smart. Your IQ is so high, just like mine. After Little Bean said that, Hua-min and Pudding almost burst out laughing. Even their grandparents couldn't hold it in anymore. What are you guys laughing at? Little Bean was a little embarrassed. As the one with the lowest IQ in the family, how can you brag here? Pudding retorted. Sis, if you want to talk like this, I don't want to listen. Do you still want to have fun together in the future? Little Bean, let's get back to business. If you want a hoverbike, no problem. First, tell me, who do you want to give it to? Chin-Chu looked at his daughter and asked in all seriousness. For big sister. Little Bean stammered. Don't drag me into this, okay? Tell me the truth. Pudding stared at her. Daddy, don't ask. Are you going to buy it or not? Little Bean asked embarrassedly. Then, she looked a little angry. Seeing his daughter like this, Hua-min couldn't help but say for her, honey, just buy it. She must want to give it to Buyuan. Mommy, I like your high IQ. Pudding gave her a thumbs up. Is Buyuan the son of Gao Ran? Mrs. Chin interrupted. Grandma, let's eat. Little Bean was completely embarrassed. Oh, you want to give it to Buyuan? Okay, Daddy will buy 4. Other than you and your sister, I'll also buy one for Buyuan and Yunchu. Chin-Chu was very generous. Wow, Daddy, you're so generous. Little Bean was so happy that she hugged her daddy's neck and kissed him. Little Bean, you're using Daddy's money to give Buyuan a Valentine's Day gift. Where's your shame? Pudding asked. Chapter 2397. How can you do that? When I grow up and earn money, I'll pay Daddy back. Little Bean retorted. Suddenly, Hua-min realized something. Today is Valentine's Day. Mommy, you're so slow. The twins looked at Hua-min with disdain. But looking at you, I'm sure you didn't prepare a Valentine's Day present for Daddy. Little Bean guessed. I really forgot. I didn't know today was Valentine's Day. How did it happen so fast? Hua-min was embarrassed. Daddy, it seems like you don't need to prepare a present for Mommy. You two are even. Little Bean laughed. Pudding interrupted, he won't. From what I know about Daddy, he definitely won't forget. He might even prepare a surprise for Mommy. Ahem. You two go upstairs and get changed. Chin-Chu didn't want the twins to cause any more trouble. Okay. But do we have any plans today? Sis? Little Bean asked Pudding excitedly. Yeah, I want to go see Handsome Sue. Pudding drank a glass of milk as she walked upstairs. I don't think that's a good idea. Let's not bother Handsome Sue on Valentine's Day. He's single and poor enough. Daddy has Mommy, Uncle Wei has Auntie Xiao Wei, Uncle Gao has Auntie Lingling, Auntie has Uncle Tang, Uncle Ni Yang has Auntie Jia, and even our most honest Uncle Jixin is about to get Auntie Bella. Only Handsome Sue is single. I feel bad for him. Pudding felt even sadder after hearing Little Bean's analysis. So, I want to go see Handsome Sue. I can't let him spend Valentine's Day alone. What about Wei Yun-chu? Come on. We're still so young. Why do we need to spend Valentine's Day together? You insisted on giving Bui Yuen a hoverbike because you felt guilty for eating so much of his food last time. Don't think I don't know. Pudding saw through Little Bean's little plan. Ha ha ha. Sis, you know me the best. If that's the case, let's both go see Handsome Sue. Okay. I'll call him and ask him to pick us up. Then, she sent a video call to Suyu. Suyu had just arrived at Imperial Star's headquarters. He was in his office packing up the documents, preparing for the morning meeting. Pudding, Handsome Sue, are you free today? What is it? The two of us want to go over and play with you, today. Let's see. I have a few meetings to attend today. I'll see when I'm done. If it's early, I'll pick you up. If it's late, I won't go. So you didn't know that today was Valentine's Day. Alright then. I'll contact you later. After hanging up the phone, Suyu took the documents and walked out. When he passed by the administrative office, he heard a group of female colleagues whispering. Hey, do you know? This year's Valentine's Day is very strange. I can't even buy roses. Aw. It can't be, right? How is that possible? Another girl expressed her surprise. It's true. I don't know what's going on. My boyfriend went to buy flowers today but didn't find roses in the florist shop. In the end, he had to buy me lilies, and these teddy bears. The girl said with a pout as she held a bunch of lilies in her hands. That's strange. What's going on? Are roses banned? Or, did something happen? The women whispered among themselves and didn't notice Suyu walking past them. Ha! Is today Valentine's Day? Suyu turned around and asked in confusion after hearing the female colleague's words. Chapter 2398. President Su, I'm not sure either, An said innocently. After all, An had always been single, Siyu cleared his throat and took out his phone to check the calendar. It really was the 14th. It was Valentine's Day. No wonder the two kids called him this morning to keep him company. They didn't want him to feel lonely. Thinking of this, Siyu smiled and walked into the conference room with the documents in his hand. When he came out, it was already 2 hours later. President Su, a gentle voice came from behind him. Siyu turned around and saw Nie Lingxian, whom he hadn't seen in a long time. As the #1 actress in Imperial Star, she had replaced Jian Tong's position. The number of movies and commercials she accepted this year was more than what she had accepted in the previous 5 years. In Cece's words, her sister was going to be famous soon. All she needed was a famous movie. What's up? Yeah, I was injured a while ago, right? I'm really sorry that I delayed a lot of work. Nie Lingxian apologized to Siyu in a low voice. Oh, it's okay. Your health is more important. President Su, this is for you. Nie Lingxian mustered up her courage and took out an exquisite box from her bag. What's this? Siyu frowned slightly but didn't reach out to take it. He wasn't someone who accepted gifts easily, especially when he didn't know the other party's intentions. Don't get me wrong. It's not expensive. I made it myself, with the oven. It tastes pretty good. I heard that President Su likes chocolate, so I made some. There are no additives and it's very healthy. I hope you don't mind it. It's also a thank you for taking care of me all this time. You're too kind. You're my employee. It's normal for me to take care of you, Siyu said in a formal tone. President Su, please accept it. Nie Lingxian was a very shy girl. She was very nervous, so she held the box with both hands and bowed to Siyu. It made Siyu feel very awkward. People came and went in the office, and everyone looked at them strangely. In the end, Siyu had no choice but to take it. Thank you for your gift. After speaking, Siyu turned around and walked into his office. She placed the chocolates on the desk without any intention of opening them. Siyu bit her lip and turned on her phone's screensaver. The female doctor who wore a white coat and colored glasses was still his obsession for the past 4 years. Happy Valentine's Day, Dr. Hua. During the 4 Valentine's Days when Qin Chu wasn't around, Siyu would try his best to send Huamin gifts every year to make her happy. Although she never accepted Valentine's Day gifts, Siyu still felt happy to be able to accompany her. But this year, President Su, aren't you going to prepare a gift for President Hua this year? And asked. Go give the box of hairy crabs that someone gave me yesterday to Huamian. Other than giving her her favorite seafood, Siyu knew that there was nothing else he could do for her. At this moment, Qin Ning and Tang Chuan were already on their way back to the United States. She thought that her beautiful Valentine's Day could only be spent on a boring long-distance flight. Who knew? Qin Ning took a nap and woke up to find that Tang Chuan was gone. Ha! Where did this guy go? Did he go to the bathroom? Qin Ning was puzzled. Just then, a familiar voice sounded on the plane's radio. Dear passengers, I'm sorry to take up a little of your time. Today is Valentine's Day, and I really want to sing a song for my beloved girlfriend, for her. It was the first time Qin Ning heard Tang Chuan speak in such a perfect English voice, and her heart immediately raced. Ning Ning, are you listening? He asked. Her domineering aura made all the men who had fallen for her forget to take a step further. In fact, although Qin Ning didn't have to worry about food and clothing for the past 20 years, her love life was a complete blank. Even if she went to a friend's party, she would feel like a lonely person. Now, Tang Chuan was slowly filling the emptiness in her heart without any warning. He let her know that happiness could come from the heart and even overflow. When Tang Chuan walked out and returned to his seat, all the passengers on the plane applauded him. There was even an American couple. The old lady praised him in English, "Young man, you're good." Tang Chuan nodded and thanked everyone. When he returned to his seat, he saw that Qin Ning's eyes were red. At that time, he was even shocked. Chapter 2400. Oh my God, what's going on? My dear lady, was my singing that bad? You scared me to tears. Tang Chuan asked. Qin Ning was teased by him, and her tears immediately turned into laughter. It's not like that, don't tease me, Qin Ning said as she wiped her tears. Okay, why are you crying? If I didn't know any better, I would have thought that I was bullying you. Today is Valentine's Day, can we be a little happier? After speaking, Tang Chuan pressed the button. A beautiful stewardess walked over and asked with a smile, "What would you like?" 2 glasses of red wine, thank you. Tang Chuan was in a very good mood, and he really wanted to drink with Qin Ning. After a while, the stewardess brought over the red wine, and Tang Chuan carefully took it. He put 1 glass in front of him and handed the other to Qin Ning. Come, Ning Ning, let's drink. Qin Ning took the glass and glanced at Tang Chuan. You sing really well. Really? If it's good, I'll sing it for you often. After speaking, Tang Chuan continued, I'll sing for you every Valentine's Day, okay? Qin Ning suddenly felt even sweeter. She didn't say anything, and she just nodded shyly. Come, cheers. Tang Chuan smiled and clinked glasses with Qin Ning. Qin Ning picked up the glass and took a small sip. Then, she heard Tang Chuan say, I performed so well today, shouldn't you give me some benefits? What benefits do you want? Qin Ning looked at him, amused. I'm very easy to satisfy, and I'm not greedy at all. How about, you give me a child or something? After hearing Tang Chuan's words, Qin Ning almost spat out the red wine in her mouth. Give him a child. How was that not greedy? This Tang Chuan was really shameless. Ha, don't get so excited, I'm just teasing you. Seeing the subtle changes in Qin Ning's expression, Tang Chuan couldn't help but laugh. When the two of them were together, it was always full of passion and the atmosphere was especially funny. Just as Tang Chuan was laughing, Qin Ning suddenly leaned forward and gently kissed him on the lips. Although it was just a light touch, Tang Chuan still felt as if his brain had been electrocuted. This was the first time Qin Ning had taken the initiative to kiss him. What just happened? Tang Chuan didn't dare to move. He looked at Qin Ning and asked seriously. Qin Ning giggled. Don't laugh, I'm serious. What happened just now? It happened too fast, I can't remember. Why don't you show me the scene again? Tang Chuan said deliberately. In your dreams. Don't push your luck. Qin Ning turned her head and said embarrassedly. Hey, is someone shy? Tang Chuan looked down at Qin Ning. Go, 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 let me see, your face is really red. Ha. Tang Chuan, do you want to die? Shut up. Just like that, the two of them played around like children playing house. In the end, Qin Ning leaned on Tang Chuan's shoulder and enjoyed the peace and beauty of this moment. Tang Chuan, yeah. If you go back with me this time, what if my dad gets angry and kicks you out? No way, I already agreed to be his live-in son-in-law. Why would he kick me out? Tang Chuan looked wronged. Didn't you sneak out in the middle of the night last time? My dad thinks you're not sincere to me. Plus, he's always had a bad temper. Maybe when he sees you, he'll kick you out. What will you do then? Qi Ning looked at Tang Chuan worriedly. Chapter 2401. Okay, if you really want to kick me out, then I'll have to go. Tang Chuan purposely sighed. How can you be so indecisive? You'll leave just because I told you to. Obviously, Qi Ning was unhappy. I can't just stay at your place, right? I'm a grown-up. It's so embarrassing to be kicked out. Okay, do whatever you want. Qi Ning immediately stood up and stopped leaning on his shoulder. She was clearly unhappy. Seeing Qi Ning like this, Tang Chuan secretly laughed and continued, but I don't know anyone in Los Angeles. If you kick me out, I have nowhere to go. All I can do is wander around during the day and sneak into your room at night. Do you mind if I share a bed with you? Tang Chuan, you tricked me. Qi Ning finally realized that she had been tricked by Tang Chuan. She immediately raised her fist and punched him on his shoulder. The two of them openly displayed their love for each other, torturing a bunch of single people on the plane. On the other side, Huamin was being driven to the suburbs by Qin Chu. As the two drove through the city, Huamin noticed something strange. At first, she wasn't sure, so she took out her phone and looked at it. It's Valentine's Day today. Huamin muttered to herself. What's wrong? Honey. Seeing Huamin mumbling to herself, Qin Chu tilted his head and asked her. Honey, it's Valentine's Day today, right? Yeah. But why aren't there any roses on the streets? Even the flower shops aren't selling them. It's so strange. Huamin looked at the people on the street, the couples holding hands, and the girls holding lilies and baby stars. She didn't even see a single bouquet of roses. This was too strange. Roses were everywhere on Valentine's Day every year. No matter if it was red roses, blue roses, or pink roses, the streets would be filled with roses. Roses represented love. Why was it this year? Oh, really? I didn't pay much attention to it. Qin Chu answered casually while driving. Huamin didn't give up. He opened his phone and scrolled through his WeChat moments. As expected, the couples in their WeChat moments were also posting lilies, and they were all complaining that they couldn't buy roses. Jixin was pursuing Bella, so he originally planned to order 99 roses and confess to her. Who would have thought that they wouldn't be able to book it? Jing Jixin, Valentine's Day is so weird this year. Roses can't be bought, and money is a luxury. Can someone tell me what's going on? Jiang Xiaowei posted a photo of the limited edition Cartier couple bracelet that Wei Liao had given her. Next to it was a bouquet of roses made of gold. She said, roses can't be bought this year, so my husband generously ordered gold roses. Although it's old-fashioned, I'm still very touched. Zhu Lingling posted a table of food, red wine, and a bucket of popcorn. She wrote, we're an old married couple, so it's okay that we don't have roses. I'd be happy even if this man gave me popcorn. After all, we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. She scrolled down and saw that Chen Jia had also posted lilies and a diamond necklace. The only one who posted roses was Cece. However, Cece was already far away in New Orleans. She held a giant red rose and smiled happily. She wrote, he's full of fire and courage, but in the end, he's still willing to return to normal for me. Thank you, my great hero. Huamin liked all of them. Then, he put away his phone and said to Qin Chu, honey, other than Cece, no one else received roses. But Cece's in the States, so it doesn't count. What's going on? Could it be that someone had started to speculate in roses, just like gold? Did you hear any rumors? Chapter 2402. Hua Min's imagination ran wild, thinking that someone was using roses to create hype. No, Mr. Qin replied nonchalantly. Okay, pretend I didn't say anything. Hua Min saw that Mr. Qin wasn't interested in the topic, so he didn't say anything else. An hour later, the two drove to a manor in the suburbs. Honey, what are we doing here? A farmhouse. Fishing and eating. Hua Min didn't understand. Looking at the mountain village in the middle of nowhere, he didn't know what Mr. Qin was up to. Come with me. After Qin Chu parked the car, he held Hua Min's hand and walked out. Mr. Qin, you're here. At the door, a man in his 40s saw Qin Chu and greeted him. Is everything ready? Qin Chu asked him. It's all ready, Mr. Qin, you and Mrs. Qin can go in. Okay. Qin Chu nodded, holding Hua Min's hand as they walked in through the door. Only then did Hua Min realize that they were in a simple manner. After walking in, it was a very dark and narrow path. It was a little dark. If it weren't for Qin Chu by her side, she would have been scared. Honey, where are we going? This place is so scary. Hua Min whispered. Qin Chu didn't answer and just walked forward in silence. After walking for about 4 or 5 minutes, the path ahead began to light up. Hua Min saw a glass door. It was big and beautiful. However, because it was covered by green vines, they couldn't see what was inside. At the glass door, Qin Chu held Hua Min's hand and slowly stopped walking. Why aren't we walking? Hua Min was curious. Mian, guess what's inside? Is it a vegetable garden? A pure green vegetable garden. Hua Min guessed. Pudding and Little Bean loved vegetable gardens like this, so they often came here to pick strawberries and tomatoes to eat. Hua Min thought that Qin Chu had invested in a vegetable garden and wanted her to take a look and give him some advice. After hearing Hua Min's words, Qin Chu only smiled. Close your eyes, I'll take you in. Why are you being so secretive? Is it necessary? Hua Min thought it was funny. It's necessary, Qin Chu ordered her like a child. Okay, I'll close. Unable, Hua Min couldn't dissuade Qin Chu, so she closed her eyes. Then, Qin Chu slowly opened the glass door. Qin Chu's Qin Chu and Min's. After walking for about 20 to 30 steps, Qin Chu found a perfect spot and stopped. Then, he gently said, Mian, you can open your eyes now. After hearing this, Hua Min slowly opened her eyes. Instantly, she was stunned. In front of her was a sea of roses, in the middle was the blue enchantress, then the pink rose wrapped around the blue enchantress, and then the champagne rose. In the end, the entire mountain was covered in red roses, blooming brilliantly. Under their feet was a high platform. Looking down, they could see a mountain full of flowers. This place was actually a huge rose garden. When they came in, Hua Min was fooled by the simple house and door. She thought it was just a vegetable garden. Who knew that there was a whole other world inside? Why are there so many roses? Hua Min was so surprised that she couldn't speak properly. Qin Chu was behind her. He gently hugged her waist and whispered in her ear, I bought out all the roses and planted them in this sea of flowers. Today, only you can have roses. After hearing this, Hua Min's eyes flashed with tears. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.